The Vidane Racing Series, powered by iRacing.com, is live for Season 7 on LSRTV. Tonight it is the Vidane Racing Rent-A-Race Car Super Speedway Series and a Vidane integrated point system duels at Daytona to set the grid for next week's season kickoff. And in the broadcast booth tonight, Evan Pasoko, PDJ Zeller, and PD, we're looking forward to a good one. We got two 40-lap shootouts on the line where these drivers have to go for a top 15 spot. There are a couple of drivers sitting on provisionals, but looking right now, we got 33 cars scheduled to start this race. That's a lot of cars going for not a lot of real estate.
Should be an exciting race tonight. The season opener for Vidane. All these drivers know there are two heat races, and each one will contain around 33 drivers. And if you do the math, that's around 20 guys going home, so the racing should be very exciting tonight as they are getting to roll them off of pit road from Daytona.
And by the way, if you don't make a qualifying spot in this heat race, you don't get to hop into the next one and give it another shot. It's one and done. There is one quick fix available as we get set to roll off the grid. And again, this is going to be a great one. Race heat number 1 going on right now, going to be in the daytime, and then we'll go to another broadcast later on in the evening. Going to be a night race for heat race number 2, but we'll walk you down through the Vidane integrated point system, the Rent-A-Race Car starting grid as they roll from pit lane. Adam Gilliland going to be starting on pole position. Alongside him going to be Tyler Wood starting second. Stephen O'Rourke going to be starting in third. Alan Bowes in fourth. Logan Clamp going to round out the top 5 on the inside of row number 3.
And starting 6th night, we have the number 2 car of Jeff Ramsdell. Rolling off in 7th is the number 76 of Ryan Flood. In 8th, we have the number 89 of David Shutt. And 9th is Aaron Davis. And rounding out the top 10 is the number 49 of Brian Bliss.
11th position going to belong to the 51. That is Justin Fuller. Ryan Hunt going to be starting the 48 machine in 12th. Dalton Alexander, the 33, is going to be starting in the unlucky number 13 starting position. Logan Kress will take the 38 machine off in 14th, and Jonathan Dickert will round out the top 15.
Rolling off in 16th, we got the number 18 of Kyle Brummett. Pulling in number 17th is number 93 of Cody L. Hartlub, and number 18th position is number 77 of Houston Hammer, and 19th is the number 94 of Brittany Grimm, and rounding out the top 20 is the number 6 of Preston Perlmutter.
Joshua Gaiman, the 888 machine, starting 21st. Jonathan Knobloch in 22nd. Femi Olat, 23rd. Joe Branch, 24th. And Justin Gable, 25th.
26th is Dustin Lee. And 27th is Kurt Croze. And 28th is Zach Trevino. 29th, Alec Karin. And 30th is Danlius D. Demetris.
John Eckert, 31st. 32nd, Eric Blantley. And Robert Hill Jr. will round out our 33-car field tonight. It's the Cup cars, the Chevys, the Fords, and the Toyotas out there, but we get set to kick off Vidane Season 7 as the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car rolls us at quarter number 4. Happy to have you with us on LSRTV. And Adam Gillen going to be in control. Pace car down the pit road. 8-car in control. Green flag flies. We're racing at Daytona International Speedway. Green flag flies.
Alan Gilliland got a great restart, and he is going to clear the number 78 in second, or correct me, that is actually the number 30. As they roll off into turn number 1, they are pulling up to each other's bumper. We will see a lot of that tonight at Daytona. The way you race here is you got to push your buddy to the front, and you just got to stay on his bumper.
And they are working a fixed and what they call a, quote, experimental setup as they try to limit the 2-car tandem. That's what we see up front, though. 2 sets of 2, the 8 and the 3-car. Gilliland, and that is the 3 of O'Rourke at the bottom, and now the 37. I was going to say that was Alan Bowes, who was working with the 30 of Tyler Wood. He's actually going to drop down in line. That leaves the 30-car of Wood out there to dry. He's going to actually hold up a 2-car tandem because the 2 of Jeff Ramsdell was trying to make a lot of ground with the 51 of Justin Fuller. They will get held up. 51 dives to the bottom. It's going to be the 30 and the 2-car lone ones up top in the top 10.
Great racing going on here early from Daytona. The number 30 car is leading the outside line, followed closely behind by Jeff Ramsdell, as Jeff Ramsdell is going to try to push the number 30 up front. Trying to make some moves early, not a long race. 40 laps will go by quick here tonight, and you got to get up front, because if you do not get up front in this race, there is a chance you will not make the big show.
And there are drivers in here that by finishing top 20 in the Season 6 championship standings, as we watch the 30 and the 2 car make ground up at the outside lane, there are drivers in here that are already locked into the main event in 1 week's time by the fact that they would have taken the green flag. Those drivers will be Joe Branch, Houston Hamer, Jeff Ramsdell, Ryan Hunt, Logan Clampett, Chris Sweat, and Robert Hill Jr. Those cars are already locked in, as that outside lane has been able to get side by side for the lead here, PD. Those cars already locked in, so the 15 positions, not including those cars, advance, so you could be 20th, assuming 5 of those cars are in front of you, and still move on. So that's going to be something that we have to keep an eye on throughout the race. But look at that outside line. The inside has not been pushing. The outside has. Now the 3 and 8 get together. Will the 30 leave his partner? He dives down low. Goodbye. Jeff Ramsdell's going to be stuck up top.
Jeff Ramsdell left out to dry by Tyler Wood. We're going to be seeing a lot of that tonight, because whenever you get clear of the man, as Adam Gilliland gets it underneath the number 30 of Tyler Wood, but thinks better of that and will let up a little bit. One thing I've noticed so far is that the 2-car tandem on the outside can really get a good run using the side draft, as we see Jeff Ramsdell get another go with the number 44 car, as Tyler Wood is going to go back up to the outside now, as they race side by side into turn number 2.
The 20 machine of Aaron Davis having some trouble, no longer on the racetrack, was winning, and now we got trouble back in the pack. Caution flag is going to fly, trying to get a number on that incident as we slow him down the back straightaway. The 48 of Ryan Hunt, the Lowe's Chevrolet, is around. Looks like it's going to be an incident off the corner. Looks like he got hooked at a quarter number 2 by, I want to call that the 6 machine. 6 machine got into him coming off a 2. That would be Preston Perlmutter. And a good thing for Ryan Hunt is he's already locked in, PD, via starting this race via the top 20 in points last season. So he will have an opportunity to use his one quick fix, but a little bit of a break there in the regards that he's already locked in. But that will put us under our first caution of the race, as Adam Gilliland is able to hang on to the number 1 spot after having a very spirited challenge by a couple cars up there on the outside lane as the field catches the pace car down the back.
That was a tough break, though, for Justin Gable, because if there is another caution that comes out and he is involved, he has used his 1 reset now after that vicious crash, and, you know, if he's not locked in, if he gets involved in another wreck, he's going home. He has to try again next week, so very tough break for him. He's just going to have to try to keep his nose clean for the rest of this race.
And we got trouble under the caution flag. The 6 machine, the Budweiser car, who we just talked about, being involved at an incident with the 48, is going to get some contact. The 10 of Justin Gable slowing down the back straightaway and couldn't get on the brakes enough, actually got into the back end of the 6 car. The 6 car getting rear end damage. The 10 car of Gable actually going around on the back straightaway, nose first into the outside retaining wall. He goes he's rolling now, PD, but some damage from those cars caused via that checkup. So again, top 15 advancing. We hear the race control over the radio. They may have swapped that out to top 16 positions, plus those guys that have obviously been locked in via last season's points will advance to the main show. But if you're down towards that tail end of this pack, and again, it is a big pack. You mentioned about 33 cars per race, 40 laps. It's a decently length race, but you can't, hang out. You really got to start going, and it looks like what we've seen so far is the outside lane is going to be the place to be. So taking a look here, a little bit of track information for you, as again we work under our first caution flag of the evening. The Daytona International Speedway, again, heat race number 1 underway right now. So it's a day race, and obviously this racetrack located Daytona Beach, Florida. Capacity crowd of 147,000 fans can pack into a race here on any given weekend. This racetrack broke ground back in 1957, opened 2 years later in 1959 for a construction cost of approximately $3 million. It's owned and operated by the ISC, the International Speedway Corporation. The track itself, the plate track that we've come to love, it is 2.5 miles in length, an asphalt surface repaved not too long ago. The banking 31 degrees in the turns, 18 in the tri-oval, 2 down the back straightaway. So those are the track facts. But right now, Gilliland, O'Rourke, Bozewood, Ramsdell, these are the top 5 drivers right now on the racetrack. Again, still working under this early caution. Going to take a look back at the last season's points results. The top 5 that brought it home, it would be Ian Plash, who would go to victory lane, not in this number 1 split. We'll see him later on tonight he would go to victory lane and obviously take home that championship. 2 wins on 12 starts, 7 top 5s, 8 top 10s that are the most in both, actually all 3 of those categories, most wins, most top 5s, most top 10s out of any of the other drivers. Wes Hogue actually came home second in the championship standings. He was 19 points back. Ryan Hunty would come home third, 71 back. 90 back would be Doug Dries, and Davey Scoville would round out the top 5 of the championship standings. 103 points back total as we continue to work under this caution flag period. Lights are going to remain on top of the iRacing Ford vs. Mustang pace car, so it means we're going to have to wait until at least lap number 9 to get going. And although this was a very short stint to start the race, the fact that these cautions take up 3, 4, maybe even 5 laps at times, if you have to account for some waiver rounds, they really do take a fair chunk away from the race in action. So the more cautions, the more those guys at the back of the pack are going to have less time to try to work a strategy, find a partner, get up to the outside lane or even the bottom, whatever they got to do to get up into what would be a transfer position. And again, we'll have all that information at the end because there's still a lot of these drivers, again, with locked-in positions, so they will not take up one of those top 15 or top 16, depending on what race control decided at the drop of the green flag. Those spots will not be taken up by that. So still under the caution flag period, and again, want to thank some of the sponsors that make Vidane Racing possible. That includes the Vidane Integrated Point System, title sponsor on tonight's race, and for iRacing League Management for leagues that matter, you can check that out. www.vidane.net is the league website if you want to get to the Integrated Point System /VIPS, again standing for the Vidane Integrated Point System. Check that out, going to be coming soon for iRacing and all those kind of needs. Also, Rent a Race Car, title sponsor on the Super Speedway Series. Race with Stafford Speedway's Dare Stock Division at www.rentaracecarne.com. And that's going to be some of the prizes going out to the top finishers in the championship standings when the season will come to a close. Also, Xlander Designs, websites, hero cards, prints, and all business leagues. That'll be xlander.com, EXLANDER.com. And also RAR Chevette Productions, video editing more from Ian Plash. Again, we talked about him, season champion. That'll be facebook.com/RAR Chevette. So lights still on the pace car. Everybody trying to get sorted out here. So we're actually going to take a moment, step away for a quick commercial break. You're watching Vidane Racing on LSRTV. The Duel's coming up after this. And back live at the Daytona International Speedway, you're tuning in to the Vidane Integrated Point System Duels at Daytona. Going to set the field for the Season 7 opener in 1 week's time. We have well over 60, approaching 70 drivers trying to bind to that 43-car field. And we get set to go back green flag racing. Coming off of our first caution flag period, Adam Gilliland, the number 8 machine, going to be taking up the outside of that front row. Inside, going to be the number 3 of Stephen O'Rourke. Pace car dives down to the safety of pit road. Green flag flies back underway at Daytona.
Adam Gilliland with another good restart. Interesting choice taking the outside here, but seems to have worked out for him as he will pull off in front of the number 30 of Tyler. They go off into turn number 1.
And it's going to be side by side for those top positions. The 8 of Gilliland on the bottom. It's the 30 car of Tyler Wood on the outside. Trying to get work done. He has the Monster Energy Toyota. That's the 51 machine up on the top lane trying to help him. Justin Fuller going to get a big run down that back straightaway. Again, they had that run coming off of quarter number 2. The 30 car is going to be clear. Does the 51 have enough room? Oh, he comes down a bottle to hang on to it. Wow.
But that will hurt the number 30 of Tyler Wood as he got hit in the bumper by the number 51 of Justin Fuller, and he's going to be dropping like a rock here because he lost all his momentum that he had going for him, and he is going to find the number 89 car of David Shutt as he will try to make his way back to the front on the outside once again.
That 51 could have easily wrecked in front of this entire field, and he ended up right on the front bumper of Adam Gilliland, but he's able to hang on to it, and everybody keeps him going the right direction. You talked about that 30 machine is not good for Tyler Woods. He slid back and actually got in the way of a two-car tandem. The 89 to 33 were working together up top. Now the 30 of Tyler Woods going to have help from, as you mentioned, David Shutt on the outside lane. They're about at a nose with the 76 of Ryan Flood, which will put him back maybe 7th position down in the running order. The only cars inside the top 10 working the outside lane. We have some action 2 wide back around 14th position. The 49 car, Brian Bliss, who was actually 11th last time by, he's got help. It's the 81 of Alec Karen on the outside lane trying to make him work, and side by side, pretty much from there on back throughout the field. The front is the most calm that we've seen all race long. Top 2, bumper to bumper, that is Fuller and Gilliland trying to pull away a little bit. Stephen O'Rourke has settled in line 3rd on the bottom.
And like you said, this whole race is just calmed down. They're going single file. Probably don't want to see them add more cautions. They're just going to save their equipment. And guys in the back, though, they're racing a lot harder right now because they have a lot more to fight for. If they do not make their way to the front, they will not be in the show. As we see some great racing going back here. 3 wide, there's actually a car on the wall, the number 31. Not good for him. As they are still 3 wide, just racing incredibly back here. And they are fighting for transfer spots right now.
And that's all going on, as you mentioned, right around that transfer bubble. It was about 15th position that saw the 81 car going to the wall. Still 3 wide, as the 13 machine looks like it's going to be Femiola at the Subway Ford machine through the middle, and it cleared to make that once again a 2 wide situation. More 3 wide now, the 44, the 77, and the 32. Dustin Lee on the bottom of that mix as they go 3 wide. Houston Hamer in the middle is able to get through, but those 2 cars on the outside that we were talking about very briefly there, Petey, the 30 car who at Tyler Wood looked like he was going to lead a lap, got contact, slid back at the outside lane. He had help with the 89. They slid back in line, I want to say around the 93 of Cody Hartlaub, so that's still about 9th position, 7th spot maybe on the top. It depends on who. We got trouble back in the pack. The 77 car, we hear caution going to fly. Houston Hamer around hard into the wall.
The 6 is getting in it
as well.
And that caution's not what the leaders wanted to see, as they were just trying to get some single file, but that's a tough one for Houston Hamer. Go see what happened in that one.
Yeah, it looks like as we work on getting the replay up there, the 44 car running in line behind him, that's going to be Logan Clampett. The replay going live right now. Just made slight movement on the left rear of that car. Turned the 77 to Hamer around. The 95 gets damaged. The 44, the 95, the 86, the 10, the 11 involved in that. Again, we also mentioned the 6 machine tried and just had nowhere to go. He'll get a piece of damage as well, and once again, going to hit our 2nd caution now of the evening. Slow him back down. This time, Justin Fuller going to be in the number 1 position. He currently rides as the first car tucked up behind that pace car as they all slow down here for pace speed going down into 3 and 4.
That was actually a very tough break for the number 6 of Preston Perlmutter because if you remember, under the last caution, the number 10 did not check up for the pace car and hit him very hard in the back bumper, and he had to pit to get his first quick repair. So that damage on his front, he will have to repair manually. And as you know, at Daytona, aerodynamics are so important, and his car has severe damage to that hood, so he's got a tough time transferring here.
And again, these Daytona races can sometimes turn into a survival of the fittest. Pit stops look like they're going to be coming down. Here comes Justin Fuller. Do we see anybody stay out? I do believe this is going to be the only pit stop that I think they're going to have to do to make it the distance. So I do see everybody coming down pit road for the most part. So going to get an update on that as it looks like a lot of guys going to come in. Let's keep an eye on Justin Fuller.
Justin
he led
Fuller
them down in first. Yeah, he overshot it there a little bit. That will cost him some time, especially under caution flag pit stops and no tires. It's going to be fuel only. He is not going to be the first one off pit road. Gilliland, O'Rourke, and then Fuller. So that time cost him.
One thing I noticed on pit road is when Justin Fuller came in, he actually had some nose damage whenever he made that incredible save, so he has used his quick repair. Justin Fuller cannot be involved in another wreck or else his car is done.
Yeah, that's one of the pesky things about the iRacing quick fix is, again, these guys sitting on 1, and that has been bumped up from previous seasons when it was none. So they are sitting on 1 quick fix right now, but again, you cannot choose when you want to use that. So some cases, even if you just get a 0x, you mentioned a little bit of nose damage, you'll go in there, you might want to stay out and, race with that damage because you don't think it's going to affect you, and you want to have that, that additional quick fix as a mulligan in your back pocket. You don't get that option. So everybody that came down pit road, if any of these guys had any sort of damage, their one and only quick fix is gone, and they're out there on their own for the rest of this race, and that is a very unsettling thing when we still sit with 30 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap, the 35 of Robert Hill Jr. He's in pit road trying to get what appears to be substantial front-end damage repaired. He just now rolls from his pit stall. We have a couple of cars off the lead lap. Ryan Hunty, the first car 1 lap down, the Lowe's Chevrolet, a little bit of pink on that machine, supporting Breast Cancer Awareness Month. He is 31st. Houston Hamer 1 lap down as well in 32nd, and again, the only car that has hit the garage, Aaron Davis, who does not have a provisional entry tonight, Petey. One of the things about sim racing is our mechanical gremlin equivalency is connection to the server. He disconnected early on. He will finish by all exclamations 33rd position as he sits 10 out and is not rejoined.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker, but one thing interesting that Vidane does is they have team championship. And what the team championship does is every driver on the winning team this season will be getting involved in one of their primary sponsors, Rent a Race Car. And what that does, all the drivers on the team that won the team points will get to go to Stafford Speedway and race basically stock cars, which is a very cool thing they're doing here at Vidane.
And again, the Vidane website, vidane.net, there is a GoFundMe if you want to donate. If you're a league member, if you enjoy watching league, you can donate some money to them so they can have some more funding, not only for putting up the races, but also obviously for these prizes. They got a couple of trophies and whatnot, and obviously you mentioned Rent a Race Car being on board. That's pretty much the main thing that everybody's going to be shooting for, is wanting to walk away with bragging rights to be able to have the opportunity to do that. But many of these leagues and are broadcasted, there's an entry fee, and Vidane, you do not have to pay in order to race. So if you want to go donate to the Vidane Season 9, help them fund, it's a GoFundMe. You can find that at vidane.net. That'll be on the homepage of their website. You're seeing right now race leader Justin Knobloch, the 04 Ford machine. It appears right now that he's in first position. Actually, no, he's cycled back, so everything's cycling through right now. So it looks like it is going to be the 8 car in the number 1 spot. 48 is in front of him, so that'll give Ryan Hunty a wave around at the 1 to go.
Yes, and things have not been changing very much here so far, but, we haven't really had a lot of comer and goers so far, which I expected to see. So far, the guys in the front have stayed in the front, and the guys in the back haven't been making a lot of moves. I think they are racing very conservatively so far here from Daytona International Speedway.
And we're going to try to use this opportunity to queue up the driver of the number 38 Miller Lite Ford, and that's going to be Logan Kress, our in-race reporter. Logan Kress, M. Pasoko, PDCL, the LSRTV broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
You're riding right now what shows to be P12. You guys are working 2 cautions, and already, as it looks like you guys are doubling up here, already at the halfway point nearly. What is your strategy from this point moving forward? Do you want to just kind of ride around on the bottom, use the top side? What's your outlook here?
I want to win, but passing after 5 laps is just pretty much impossible. Once the temps get up, you can't really go anywhere unless you find a car that's like ice cold to push you around. So I'm probably just going to drop to the inside, stay above the transfer line, and hopefully go on to the show.
Definitely all eyes are on the transfer positions to advance to next week's main event, 250 miles, 100 laps here at Daytona. You started in 10th, you sit right now, you started 14th, right now you sit P10, so you've been able to make up some ground right now, but as you said, right now in a transfer position. Before we let you go here and get ready for the restart, as you guys go down the back, any shout-outs you want to throw out there?
Just to my team, Fastlane Motorsports. They picked me up last year when I needed a team before NIS, and they've been nothing but great.
Definitely. Well, we'll get you back to your team radio, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you later on some good circumstances.
All right, thank you.
So, PD, we are doubled up. We head now down into corners number 3 and 4, and we're going to get set for a restart. It appears race leader Adam Gilliland is going to be up behind the pace car, selecting the outside lane, and we get doubled up from this point on. I think it's going to be about 24 laps to go. It'll be lap 17 when we come to take the green flag. So we're going to get set for another one. Stephen O'Rourke has been another one of those drivers that has been up front all night long, but the calamity area that we've seen is Oro. That 3 wide has been that you touched on, PD, is right around that 15th position, 15th through 20th, which is where that transfer cutoff is going to be when we get down to that checkered flag. So that's something to keep an eye on. Pace car set to dive down, now down on the safety of pit road. Adam Gilliland in control, green flag flies, and back and away, second restart at Daytona.
Once again, Alan Gilliland gets a really good run on the outside, and he will be clear of the number 3 car, being sure not to pull down from before the line because that would get him penalized, as they are racing side by side about 7 rows deep here into turn number 1.
We're on board with the 77, I do believe. That's Houston Hammer looking up at the huge pack of race cars in front of him. Nowhere to go. Well, he's going to make a spot to go to the middle, 3 wide. That's back around position. I want to say that's by the 79. It's for 22nd. However, that 77 is 1 lap down. So all he wants to do is stay in front of Justin Gable, which would be for the lucky dog position on the next caution. But up front, 2 wide throughout the top 10, something that we've not really seen on these restarts yet tonight, PD. They tend to single file up pretty quickly. Looks like the outside lane now starting to fall back, but the charge is led by Adam Gilliland. Him and Stephen O'Rourke pushing on the bottom. First car up top, the 37 of Alan Bowes.
Right now, Stephen O'Rourke is doing a great job pushing Alan Gilliland. He's pushing him straight away from the field, but whenever they're going to have to make a swap, if they have to, that is not going to be beneficial, as the outside looks like it's got a little bit split up, and that's not going to help them very much. One thing I'm looking at right now is if I'm Tyler Wood, or if I'm Danielis D. Demetrius, or if I'm Eric Brantley, I'm sitting there around 30th. They got to get to the front. They have a long way to go and a short time to get there. It should be fun to watch them try to fight for their transfer spot.
And the field spreads out now through 3 and 4. A couple of cars that are starting to slide off the pace. Robert Hill Jr.'s 5 seconds back. He's lost the draft. It appears the 6 machine, Preston Perlmutter, who we saw his Budweiser machine get into some trouble earlier, he's dropped back, but still a strong pack going mid-pack. The top car is trying to pull away, but the outside lane is not giving up. It is the 2 car of Jeff Ramsel. He has jumped out to the outside lane. He wants to get going up to the number 1 spot. Jeff, one of our drivers that is sitting on the professionals, and that got close for what was about P5. The 37 of Alan Bowes got real close to the passenger side door of Justin Fuller. No harm, no foul there, and the top 2 going to be 2 wide down into 3 and 4.
They sure didn't miss a beat, because they are still got the run of Adam Gilliland and Stephen O'Rourke, as they are going to race side by side. Using that side draft, it looks like Adam Gilliland was going to make a block move, but made it a little bit too late, because Jeff Ramsdell is pulling to the outside of the number 8 car and getting a push from the 37, and it looks like the 8 will be able to fend him off right now.
And again, that outside lane just was not able to get back together. If you're going to make a push on the outside lane, you want to get hooked up, you got to complete that pass, you need to be hooked up. And the 2 into 37 just can't do it. And when we talked during the caution, Logan was telling us about the temps that after a couple of laps are just too hot to be pushing. And speaking of the 38 machine to the inside, and he's the last car on the inside that has to worry about outside cars. 37 is going to drop down in front of him. That's Alan Bowes. So Bowes is going to go from about 4th last time by to about 7th, 8th, or even 9th, depending on where that 2 car crosses the stripe. But now you start to see the single file line on the inside, which is so key in these draft-styled setups that you have to run here with the Cup cars at the plate tracks start to take over. Still those 2 cars up top, the 2 now with the 92 of Jonathan Dickert, so he may be able to get some assistance because the 92 was not pushing, so his engine temps are still down as opposed to the 37 of Bowes. But here they come on the outside, and you can see the run when they're pushing. The question is, how long can they hang on to that?
Here almighty, and here they come to the outside of Adam Gilliland. That didn't take long, but the 92 is going to have to get himself a little bit of air. But they are side by side racing for this lead, and you can see right there how... Oh, big one in the back, big one.
We got big trouble down behind the pack, and that was down in 3 and 4. as a couple of cars got hooked up down in the corner. It looks like there's a couple of pit cars, looks like the 55, working on getting that replay, and the replay going up right now, so you can take a look at what happened. That was down into corner number 3, and it looks like the 77, a Hammer, got into the fence, the 888 machine, the 55, and they kind of clogged up the racetrack. They were towards the tail end of the lead lap, so could have been a lot worse, but that does slow us down for our third caution of the race, just past the halfway point. So we group back up once again behind the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car. 3 wrecks so far, and again, Petey, you talked about if it's happening at the front, there's some guys in the back that are liking that because they're going to be gaining some spots from that. But at the same time, if you're too far past what would be that cutoff position, you don't like this because you need green flag racing to make those passes.
One thing I am noticing here is that one person that did not want to see that at all is the number 77 of Houston Hammer. As you remember, he was just involved in that wreck on the backstretch, and now he has substantial damage again. And same with the number 48, but Houston does not have a provisional, so if Houston can't pull off a miracle here, Houston will not be in the big show.
And I believe he is the only car being scored 1 lap down, but because he was in that incident, I do think that that will refrain him from getting that wave around. We'll have to wait and see what happens in that regard, but I do believe if you get incidents when a caution flag flies, you will not be eligible for that wave round. Nobody coming down pit road, no takers this time by. Everybody pitted about lap 13 to lap 13-14 crossover mark of the caution for the amount of fuel that they need to make it to the end. We got a couple of cars coming in towards the tail end of the lead lap, and some lap cars coming in. They are obviously getting some damage repairs. Joe Branch is down there, the 48, the 60, 888, just to name a few of them down there, because these wrecks have happened. We haven't seen a huge one, and that's one thing you have to be worried about when you come to these restrictor plate races, is the big one that they dub. But most of these incidents have been relatively small. They've been towards the tail end of the lead lap, towards the back half of these big groups of race cars, but they still have collected a fair amount of drivers in them. It does appear that Justin Gable is now also out of the race. The number 10 car going to be our second retiree of the night, and looks like also Robert Hill Jr. out of the race. So 3 cars behind the wall, 30 still in this race. Those guys at the tail end working a lot of damage. Eric Brantley, 30th position, is currently behind the wall, not out of the race yet, but obviously taking a tow back to pit road, so we'll have to keep it updated. But at this point, your hopes, if you're back there, PD, are obviously going to be pretty dismal at this situation.
Lots of cars where I used their first repair, and now they're having to use their seconds. It's just a heartbreaker. You want to make the big show. You put so much effort into making the big race, and then you show up to the duel and you have that happen. That must be heartbreaking, but you know, it happens sometimes. That's racing, and it's, you know, what happens bad to them this week could be good for them next week.
And again, I have to say, there's a fair amount of hype entering tonight, PD, with Vidane coming back after a substantial break in between season 6 and 7. So you want to perform. You want to even have the shot at being in the first race. So the fact that you're obviously going to have to go through these qualifiers, and you know, one of the things about the super speedway racing is that sometimes you feel a lot of it is just out of your control. So it is tough. You know, you amp yourself up for this, you do all the practice sessions, and you could get caught up in somebody else's mess and really never have a shot at it. So you can live by and die by. You know, that's the way the super speedway races tend to go.
Also, Eric Brantley has pulled his car behind the wall. Looks like he had too much damage to continue on. He also does not have a provisional, so Eric Brantley will not be making the big show next Friday from Vidane. And but for the most part with this race, besides the wrecks, it's just been wonderful racing. Before that caution came out, we watched Jeff Ramsdell and Jonathan Dicker just make a mad run to the front that I don't think either of us saw coming at that point, because they just came like nothing.
And you want to talk engine temps and talking to drivers, hearing drivers over the radio, and obviously the driver communication that we can hear is not going over the stream, but it does sound like, and we heard it when we talked to our in-race reporter, who's now up to 9th position, by the way, Logan Crescent 9th in the 38 car. You know, after 5 laps, after a handful of laps, the temps are just too high to push. So not only, you know, obviously it's going to be the restarts that you need to take advantage of, try to get whatever spots you can on. Not only that, but you are also limited in that window on how long you can push. So these starts right off these restarts, PD, are really going to be crazy. So we're going to go back green. I'm going to say in the ballpark, maybe 15 to go. We'll see if the lights go on for the base guard this next time by. If they do, it will be 15 laps to go. If we see even, an additional caution later on and we have a real late race restart, I'll tell you, coming out of turn 2 down that back straightaway will be very interesting to see what happens and if any of those top guys even make it to 3 and 4, because a lot of these guys, it's the last lap. Maybe you're coming down to the end there, PD. Sometimes it's hard to forget as a race car driver that 7th position will get me into the big show, but you also want to go for that win. So it's a risk versus reward also for a lot of these guys.
One thing that a lot of these guys have to be really excited about, with Adam Gilliland in this race and leading, he actually won the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series race at Daytona this year, so these guys have a chance right now to prove what they can do against the guy who won the big race here with the pros, and that's just must be a really cool thing for them to do, and it's really cool to see such great drivers like him racing in leagues.
And he is sitting P1 in his Cody Bias Racing Chevrolet entry, with Gary Mercer Trucking on the side and on the hood of that machine. But lights are off at a pace car, so we will go back green flag racing. Going to be lap number 26. Lap 26 of 40. So it will be 15 laps to go. Something that we always have to mention is the fact that there are no green-white checkers in the iRacing service. So these cautions at least feel to me, PD, that we're doing an additional lap than normal. Now, that could just be, me thinking, but if you get a caution under 5 to go, you're not going to get a chance to go back green flag racing. So at that point, the race is done. So if anything, it's not a race down to lap 40. Race leader wants to see lap 35, 36 coming down to it, and that's when it's all hats off.
Yes, and right now there's a lot of guys in the back right now that do not have guaranteed spots, and they're going to be racing so hard for that transfer spot. I think we're not done seeing wrecks yet, because I'm sure none of them guys are just going to give up and say, you know what, at least I finished in 17th. No, they want to get to 16th because that's where you make it into the big show. And then we should see a just tremendous fight for that as it comes down in the closing laps.
And unfortunately, their fate is still undetermined because, if it was top 16, like I believe Race Control changed it to at the drop of the green flag, it was top 15 in the show notes here earlier. But even if it was that straight cutoff, you would know. But because we have those provisional guys out there, PD, it could be 18th, 17th, 20th. Who knows? So there is no certainty for those guys back there. So they want to get as many spots as they can, 15th, to get the job done. Pace car dives down the pit road. Adam Gilliland in control of the field. Green flag flies back underway. 15 laps to go at Daytona.
Interesting, Adam Gilliland took the low line that time. He had been taking the high line, but maybe the 3 is his drafting buddy, and that is why. And they get a great run on the number 2 of Jeff Ramsdell as they're going to go off in turn number 1. But Jeff Ramsdell and his buddy, the number 92, will get hooked up and try to make another substantial run to the front, as they are, for the most part, single file through this top 10.
Yeah, there's a couple of cars working the outside. You mentioned the 2 of Jeff Ramsdell, who restarted on the outside lane. He has helped the 92 of Jonathan Dickard, helping him down the back straightaway. They're going to try to pull even with the 51 of Justin Fuller. I believe that's going to be for P3, down as they actually go down into corner number 3. And the 92 still working on the back bumper of that 2 car. There's another car up top, the 93 of Cody Hartlob, who is actually...
And the 3 and the 51! Oh, the leaders are all wrecking!
And they're
still wrecking.
Oh, they're still wrecking. The 89's up in front of the field. Huge
they're still wrecking.
Gonna fly.
Oh, big one. That took out so many of the leaders. And Justin Fuller involved. He does not have a quick repair.
Big trouble on the front straightaway of the Daytona International Speedway. A lot of our leaders are caught up in that incident as the 51 just hooked that 3 car. We've seen that many times tonight. Just hooked them around, and they spun, and since that was up at the front of the field and we talked about we hadn't seen a big one yet, knock on wood, right up there at the front of the field, and we would have stayed green. The 3, the 18, we're all down on the apron. It was the fact now, as we're putting the replay up, that the 89 machine actually got turned by the 32. The 32, the 89 were all bouncing off each other, and that spun David Shutt back up onto the racing surface, collected the 12, the 81, the 79 as well. They all went down through the grass. So caution flag is going to fly. And now a lot of those cars, Speedy, we have to imagine, had already used up their 2 quick fixes, because a lot of those cars that got caught up in the aftermath, that secondary wreck, you'll call it, were at the tail end of the lead lap because of those further incidents earlier in the race.
Oh, and that was just ooh, there was 3 wrecks and 1 wreck there, because after the initial wreck, everyone was checking up, they piled up again, and then everyone was checking up for that wreck, and they piled up again, and so many cars got destroyed in that, but one car that did not get destroyed in all of that was our in-race reporter, Logan Kress, who actually has just informed me that he did get some damage.
Well, Adam Gilliland will remain P1. Jeff Ramsdell will actually be able to hang on to the number 2 spot in the number 2. And as we go back to a caution flag period, this will set us up for a restart with under 10 laps to go. And if you thought they were aggressive on that one, just wait until they get closer and closer to this checkered flag. Who knows? Maybe all you gotta do is stay on the lead lap to get the transfer spot, because again, survival of the fittest is what sometimes a lot of these super speedway races can come down to. And again, a lot of these drivers, by no fault of their own,
The 76 is actually
like
just wrecked under caution.
Trouble the 76 of Ryan Flood. Taking a look his Chevrolet, and yeah, a self-spin. Looks like he may have downshifted, and we'll get a replay at lap 28. He is able to keep it out of the outside wall, back it down to the apron, get back going. He is working right rear damage from the actual incident, but a close call there, because again, he could have easily put that thing nose first into the outside wall, and that would not have helped by any means. So as we work this caution flag period, we're going to step away for another commercial break. Adam Gilliland running P1 right now. You're watching on LSRTV. It is the Vidane Racing Series and the Vidane Integrated Point System duels at Daytona. We're going to race you down to that checkered flag on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Back live at the Daytona International Speedway. It is the Vidane Racing League Season 7, powered by iRacing.com, the Rent-A-Race Cars Super Speedway Series at a Vidane integrated point system duels at Daytona. Heat race number 1 coming down as the lights are off on top of the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car after a huge mess down the front straightaway. Going to be a 10 lap to go restart. Adam Gilliland continues to lead up front, and his Chevrolet started on pole position, trying to wrap this thing up. Jeff Ramsdell has been stuck up top, Petey. It seems like all race long. He'll be the number 2 car as we roll out of corner number 4. The cutoff right now is between 17th and 18th. Stephen O'Rourke in, Dustin Lee out. Keep an eye on around those positions. Pace car gets set to dive down to the safety of pit road. Going to make the left-hand turn right there. Field in the hands of the number 8 machine. The green flag's going to fly from the flag stand. Back underway. Adam Gilliland's going to get a big jump that might hurt him, however, when the field sucks up to him down in 1 and 2, and down the back we'll have to see. 37 to the bottom to work with the 92 of Jonathan Dickert.
As we have just 10 laps to go, your partnerships are done. Anything goes now. As the 92 ditches his partner, the 2 of Jeff Ramsdell, as we have a big Hornet's Nest racing back here for the final transfer spot.
3 wide around the number 30 machine, the 32, the 79 in the middle lane. A lot of 2 wide towards the middle of the pack, but new race leader. I told you that jump was going to hurt Adam Gilliland. Hello, Jonathan Dickert to the number 1 spot, and it's helped with Alan Bowes, the 37 Ford. He'll go to the number 2 spot, and the 92 will lead him at a corner number 4 with a pretty fair gap over Gilliland. Adam's going to need some help. The 2 of Ramsdell gets to his back bumper. They start pushing, and they're flying up on the leaders.
But the great battle back here, they're racing so hard for this transfer position, everyone just wants it. David Shutt, the number 89, remember that number, because right now that is the transfer spot. Everyone is going for that spot right now because they need to get there if they want to get in the race. There's damaged cars racing for the spot, and man, these wounded warriors are fighting hard right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of 2 wide back there in the pack. Taking a look at it there, and the issue is if you're on the inside line and you really need to get spots, but there's a lane up top, you have nowhere to go. You just have to hope that the line that you're in makes some sort of progress. Adam Gilliland, again, he used help from Jeff Ramsdell to get up to the top 2, the 92, the 37. He was all over the back bumper of Alan Bowes in 3 and 4. This time by lap 33. Going to be started 32 in the books. It is still Jonathan Dickert out front as the single file lane up front starts to form. Top 5, top 6, Brittany Grimm in a mix as well. How about the 94 car after starting back in 19th? She sits in 6th position. Those guys trying to pull away from the rest of the field, who pretty much 11th on back, 2 wide throughout the remainder of the field.
But one thing I'm noticing here, Justin Fuller, who was involved in that wreck, didn't have the repair. He is taking his damaged machine along with Stephen O'Rourke. They are catching the pack fast here. They are not done yet. They want to fight for this victory. And it's amazing with his damage that he is able to pull back up in the draft and fight up all the way back up to the front like he is right now. And they have caught the pack actually now.
Yeah, they're caught up and still 2 wide, 3 wide back in the pack as they all battle for that transfer position. A big bobble, the 33 car of Dalton Alexander. He's able to hang on to it as it looked like he got awfully close to that double yellow line through the tri-oval. That does not work at this racetrack. Everybody's able to hang on to it. And now the field starts to single file out for a moment. Back in the pack, still 2 wide, a lot of pushing in the corner has really caused most of the issues here tonight, Petey, is getting hooked on that left rear of the car in front of you, spinning him out. So this race is far from over. However, this time by 6 laps to go, and here comes Adam Gilliland, side by side for the top spot.
As they race side by side, you have found your partner now. 2-car tango is happening now. There's just 6 laps to go, and everyone wants to win this race. They want to be able to start on the pole in the Vidane race Friday night. And the 37 will actually lose contact with the 92, and that's going to hurt him. Will Adam Gilliland stay with the number 2 of Jeff Ramsdell, or will he hang him out to dry? As the number 92 will actually get the run again as Jeff Ramsdell has to back up. Wreck in the back.
Huge wreck.
Oh, big
1
one.
and 2. Oh my God. Huge wreck. Cars up and over. It's the 76 of Ryan Flood, who is tumbling multiple times. Caution flag will fly, and this may set us up for what's going to be a 1-lap mad dash, but that was a big mess, and unfortunately, I think I might have jinxed it. Did I not say that left rear has been issues tonight, Petey? The 44 car gets on the left rear of the 90 machine, and it is John Eckert who goes around in front of the field. The 76, the 30, the 18, the 49, the 79. A huge wreck in 3 and 4, and we go back under the caution flag after another big one.
Oh, so many guys' dreams have just died here at Daytona. A lot of them guys have already used their repair. A lot of them cars were already damaged and just still fighting for that last spot. But so many cars were destroyed in that wreck, and that must just be heartbreaking to know that your chance to make the race is now over. And, the 76 went for a wild ride there as he was tumbling all the way down the backstretch, and hope he's okay.
And race control discussing the incidents over the radio with the driver of the 44, Logan Clampett. Race control talking to him about how they were running with the bump draft in the corners, but nonetheless, it is another huge wreck at Daytona. So the ones at the start, we saw a couple of small incidents. I said they could have been a lot worse. We have seen back-to-back multi-car wrecks, at least a dozen was in that one as well. Again, a couple cars went for some wild rides up and over. I think it was the 76 car of Ryan Flood, who did a handful of barrel rolls and just a big mess in 1 and 2. But again, I talked about, and what I was alluding to as we came to 6 to go, was the fact that we discussed the amount of time that it's going to take to complete a caution, and if a caution were to fly within 5 to go, this race would end. Caution flies with 6 to go. So I do believe that will set us up for what could be maybe a green-white checker, 2 laps, maybe 1. Again, it all depends on what that iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car does, but still a lot to be sorted out here throughout the field, a lot of spot swapping. Right now, I'm only showing 20 cars on the lead lap. So again, lead lap may be enough to survive and get you into the big show in 1 week's time on LSRTV, but we will have to find out. Not going to make any, any predictions here quite yet because they are still active situation. Everybody coming down pit road, a lot of repairs being handed out, but I'll tell you, the only driver that really hasn't had a big scare is Adam Gilliland, and that's saying that, I mean, we say that with the fact that a car nearly spun on his nose, PD, earlier in the race. The number 1 spot seems to be the only safe spot out there.
And along with that, the number 17th spot is now the magic transfer spot with Logan Clampett wrecking. He does have a provisional, so now there will be 20 cars fighting for 17 spots. And if they do go back green, it should be insane racing for that final transfer spot. Jeffrey Amsdell, the only car left in the field with a provisional, and the only one left in the field, that has the provisional.
And that was one of the situations that we discussed, the amount of provisionals who are up there. So that should put the cutoff around maybe 17th, 18th spot, depending on, again, if it is 15 or 16 that will advance. But we will get official note from race control at the end. But it is right around in that 17th position or so where this cutoff is going to occur. Again, want to take a moment, thank a bunch of the sponsors that make Vidane Racing possible. Obviously, the Vidane Integrated Point System, title sponsor for the Duels at Daytona, iRacing League Management for leagues that matter. Check that out. You go to the Vidane website, vidane.net, go to /VIPS for more information on that. It's a joint point scoring system project by Vidane and Be Custom, from scoring races by hand to importing iRacing files. VIPS does it all, so make sure to check that out if you have a league that needs some scoring. Also, Rent a Race Car, title sponsor on the Super Speedway Series on LSRTV. Race with Stafford Speedway's Dare Stock Division, rentaracecarne.com. Again, that's one of the prizes, as you mentioned, PD, to be able to go out there to Stafford and race with some of these guys here, depending on who's going to walk away with that team championship. 2 guys together make up a team, and their points will be combined. Highest team finisher, those 2 guys will have the opportunity to do that at. Also, Xlander Designs for websites, hero cards, prints, and all business needs. That's xlander.com, EXLANDR.com. And then also RAR Chevette Productions, video editing and more from Ian Plash. That'll be facebook.com/RAR Chevette. Gonna try to talk to our in-race reporter one more time. Gonna be Logan Kress. It appears that he's sitting right now in 10th position. We'll try to cue him up on the radio once again. Logan Kress up in your broadcast booth again. You got a copy?
Yeah, I get you.
Well, things have gotten real interesting, to say the least, since we last spoke to you. You got a beaten and battered 38 Miller Ford. Is it just survival at this point?
I don't even know what's going to happen at this point. My front end's destroyed. I don't know what the sides of my car, or the back of my car for that matter, look like. So, I told the 13 car to push the heck out of me, so hopefully he does it. He just messaged me back, said he'll try. So, hopefully we make it.
We're hearing that the cutoff is going to be about 18th position. So you're 10th right now. There's still going to be a lot going down. PD, you got a question for him?
Logan, do you think you can make it one lap without the nose of your car? Because you should have a severe aerodynamic disadvantage. Do you think you have enough for one lap to hang on to a transfer spot?
Oh yeah, the arrow's not gonna really play into effect until we get halfway down the backstretch, and the 13 car says he's with me, so he has a pretty clean front end from what it looks like. So hopefully he can just push me.
All right, well, one thing you shouldn't have to worry about is blowing up because your radiator is in the air.
Ah, it's good for the air. Maximum airflow.
All right,
There you
buddy.
go. Well, good luck here, Logan, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you here at the end, and hopefully you're able to stay, I guess, remain in one of these transfer spots.
All right, thank you.
And that was Logan Kress, our in-race reporter, running position number 10 right now, as we are actually down now to 20 cars on the lead lap. I think it's going to be 19. Yeah, it's down to actually 18 cars, so it's going to be 18 guys fighting for 17 spots, so one guy is going to be left on the outside looking in. That should make things a lot more interesting.
So the lights have gone off on the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car. Shout out to all the people watching right now on the live stream, LSRTV, everybody in the chat, keeping things active here as we get set for what's going to be a one-lap shootout till the end. And we heard him talk about, PD, that the draft really doesn't come into effect until out of 2. Adam Gilliland found that out firsthand after we got out to too big of a jump, got past to the outside, but somehow he finds himself in the number 1 spot once again. So he'll be on the, we're also going to keep an eye on the transfer spot. And again, race control telling us that 18th position is the cutoff. 18 cars are on the lead lap, so no late race drama for the transfer spot. All the lead lap cars are going to move on. Alec Karen, rather, the 81 going to be the last transfer spot.
Yeah, that should make things a lot less interesting here. But still, it should be an exciting battle for the win with Adam Gilliland going to be fighting the ever-strong Jonathan Dickert and Jeff Ramsdell. And boy, them two have looked good today working together, but I don't think they're having enough time to get hooked up. And right now, the one-lap shootout, it's just every man for himself fighting out there. And who knows, maybe they'll all wreck and Justin Fuller can make it through the pack and win the race. We do not know, but we are about to find out.
Well, we're in 3 and 4, and we're going to come to the green flag, and there are no cautions on the white flag. It doesn't matter if the whole field piles in there. This is the final lap, and I'll tell you, that back straightaway is going to get very, very interesting. As long as these 18 cars take this green flag, they will advance, but the battle's going to be on. It's going to be that much more exciting for the number 1 position. Adam Gilliland in control, pace car down to pit road. Green flag and a flyer from the spotter stand. We're green, 1 lap to go at Daytona. A lot of bumping up top to 37 sideways. We're green.
And they're already fighting hard, and everyone's sideways, and there's just a lot of beating. Bang, the 33's around.
Cody Hart,
he is around, and that Justin Fuller is messed up, but they're still battling for the lead side by side. The 92 is being pushed by the 37 Alan Bowes. It's Jeff Ramsdell. He gets turned. Jeff Ramsdell on the wall. Big
up in the front of the
Everyone's
field.
around. It's just down to the 8 of Adam Gilliland.
No caution.
No caution is out. Can the 32 get to the number 8? This is what's going to come down to. The 32 has the run. He's getting the draft on the backstretch, but can he do anything with it?
There's a lot of stragglers in 1 and 2 who try to get their patterned race cars around, a lot of them coasting. We're side by side to the outside for the number 1 spot. It's the 32 of Dustin Lee. Adam Gilliland slides up. He gives him a shot. Gonna be door to door off the corner. Do they take each other out? Here comes the 04 machine side by side at the start finish line to the checkered flag. It was
Gilliland.
Adam Gilliland by 8/1000ths of a second.
Oh my, what a final lap. They all went for it. And we're going to have to go look back at that big one in 1 and 2, but oh my.
Dustin Lee will walk home with a 2nd place result after being 10th spot at the drop of the green flag there, but Gilliland is able to hang on. Justin Knobloch put up a hell of an effort there at the end. His Ford machine, the number 04, comes home in 3rd. He would have been able to steal that one if those top 2 got hooked together at all, but it is Adam Gilliland, and we'll take a quick moment to step away and catch our breaths. When we come back, we'll talk to the top 3 finishers, possibly talk to some of the guys that just made that cutoff position, and then we will go off and we'll be back on air not too long from now for a night race, Heat Race 2, coming up, but don't go anywhere. On the other side, post-race interviews, Adam Gilliland takes Heat Race number 1. Back take a look at the replay once again, as it was big junk, as I think we must have expected there, PD, coming down on that one-lap shootout, and there's a handful of drivers that drop off the lead lap. Jeff Ramsel, Dickert, Hartlaw Bose, and Brittany Grimm. All those cars were top 10 at least, got wrecked out, but they all make the cutoff. So 18th position, the final transfer spot will go to Brittany Grimm, Alan Bose, Cody Hartlaw, Dickert, Ramsel, Kress, O'Rourke, Perlmutter, Karen, Olot, Fuller, Shutt, Gaiman, Demetrius, Branch, Knobloch, Lee, and Gillen. Those are going to be the transfer spots, as we're going to get an opportunity now to talk with our top 3 finishers, and I've caught up down on pit road with the car that's going to come home. Third spot, the 04 of Justin Knobloch. Justin, you had a wicked run there, coming out of quarter number 4, just ran out of room. Walk us through that final lap and at least trying to survive it to be able to get a shot at that win. Having some issues there with the microphone of Justin Knobloch, so we're going to go down to pit road, and PD, you have caught up with what's going to be our second place finisher, 8/1000ths of a second of difference. You're down with Dustin Lee.
Dustin Lee, you got me?
Yeah.
Oh, Dustin, man, you gotta tell me about that wild ride you went on. You went from 10th to 2nd, and you and Gillen had a hell of a battle for that win, beating doors and bang coming off of turn number 4, and he beat you by just 8/1000ths. Take me through that final lap when you found your way through all the carnage.
Man, I don't know what happened. I know there was at least 2 wrecks, but it was almost like the seas just parted, and I just went right through the middle, and came out on the other end. But yeah, that was awesome. Coming from essentially 10th to 2nd when I run at the back the whole race, just trying to save my car and everything. But I would love to win, but finishing second to Adam, it's nothing wrong with that.
Take me coming off of turn number 4. Did you think you had Gillen, or did you think that Gillen had you, or did you even see the 04 coming out of nowhere and getting you both?
I was kind of worried about the 04, and I kind of thought I had him, but as soon as we started banging there, it just kind of killed my momentum, and I already knew I had a little damage on the front, so I was just trying to get all I could get.
Well, fantastic racing from you, Dustin, and you're going to be rolling off P number 3 in the big race next Friday. You got anyone you'd like to thank?
Sponsors, Olive Hill Welding, and just thank you guys for putting this on. It's a good race.
Great job, Dustin. You found your way through all the carnage and was rewarded with a second place finish. And I think Evan has caught up with Justin Knobloch, who's finally got his microphone hooked up.
Here, we're going to give it another shot. Justin, you got a copy on the radio?
Yeah, you guys got me.
All right, we're good. You're going to come home in 3rd position, and it was a spirited run at a quarter number 4. A huge run, just ran out of time. Walk us through that final lap to be able to put yourself in contention and evidently walk away with the top 3.
Well, I followed the 32 going into turn 1, and leaders took each other out, and I thought I was going to be in it, but thankfully I was able to get through it and follow the 32 straight through it all, and down the back I thought I was going to get that run, possibly make it 3 wide, but just ran out of time there coming down to the finish.
Entering tonight's race, 22nd spot, knowing that you are not sitting on any sort of provisional that would guarantee you into next week's race. What was your mentality coming into this, and what are you feeling now knowing that you've punched your ticket?
I just wanted a transfer. I wasn't too worried about winning, just wanted to make the final race next week. But pretty pumped up after this. This was my first race back since May, so it's pretty crazy.
Well, congratulations on the top 3. Again, you're punching away. You're going to be starting 5th for the main event in 1 week's time. Before we let you go, real quick, sponsors and shout-outs. Who makes it happen for you and the team?
I got to thank Houston Hammer, Ty Bass, and Time Warner Cable.
And once again, congrats on the top 3 finish. We look forward to seeing what you and the 04 team can do in the big show in 1 week's time.
Thank you, guys.
So that is Justin, the 04 machine. He'll come home in 3rd. And Petey, you're down there actually with our race leader, or at a race winner. Adam Gillen takes it home in a wild one.
Man, Adam, take me through your final lap. You missed all the wrecks, and you hung on to the race in which you dominated. Tell me how you did it.
Yeah, I knew the key going into it was going to be to stay out front. this new drafting model we've had the last few builds, it's really hard to pass without being stuck in the middle or whatever. I used to like it when we had the tandems. You controlled your fate a lot more. So I knew the key was going to be to start out front and just ride the bottom and have your teammates behind you.
So Adam, what were you thinking? You know, last lap, everyone wrecked behind you, and suddenly Dustin Lee's in your mirror and he's on your outside. Did you think he was going to get you at the line, or did you think no block had anything?
Well, when I saw the second, third, and however many cars behind me wreck, and then I saw that I had about a 6 or 7 car length lead over Dustin, I knew that I was going to be in pretty big trouble because of the draft model and how big of a run he was going to get. I knew if I could throw 1 or 2 blocks, that I'd probably slow down his momentum enough just to beat him enough to the line, and it worked out perfectly.
Oh, well, great job, Adam. You hard-earned win. You just dominated that race. You got any sponsors or people you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank Gary Merce Trucking, Tim's Corner Motorsports, JDR Graphics, you guys at LSRTV for putting on this show for the Vidane Racing League. I got to also thank my teammates that were in that race, Stephen O'Rourke and Justin Fuller. Also like to thank Justin Bolton and Ryan Hunt for spotting.
Well, congrats on the win and the pole in the big race next Friday, and see you around, Adam.
Thanks, guys.
So that is Adam Gillen. He comes home your big winner, heat race number 1. To the number 8 car, gonna real quick run you down through the full finishing order, and then gonna step away from the microphone. Heat race number 2 will remain on this stream, so don't change the dial. So I'll run you down through the finishing order. Adam Gillen gonna come home first, Dustin Lee second, Justin Knobloch third, Joe Branch fourth. It was Danelius D. Demetrius in 5th, and then Joshua Gaiman 6th, David Schutt 7th, Justin Fuller 8th, Fimai Olan 9th, Alec Karen rounding out the top 10. 11th position was Preston Perlmutter. 12th, Stephen O'Rourke. Logan Crest, 13th. Jeff Ramsdell, 14th. 15th, Jonathan Deckert. 16th is Cody Hartlub. Alan Bowes, 17th and 18th position to cutoff after running top 10. Brittany Grimm will survive, make the cutoff. So those cars that did not advance, excluding those that have provisionals from here on out, Zach Trevino in 19th, 20th, Brian Bliss, Dalton Alexander 21st, Logan Clampett 22nd, John Eckert 23rd, Ryan Flood 24th, Kyle Brummett 25th, Kurt Croes 26th, 27th, Tyler Wood, Ryan Hunt 28th, 29th, Houston Hammer, Eric Brantley 30th, 31st is Robert Hill Jr., Justin Gable 32nd, Aaron Davis rounding out the top 33. And PD, real quick before we step away, final thoughts on this first heat race.
I thought that I just saw, despite all the wrecks, I just saw a bunch of heart out there, a bunch of guys that knew, hey, I'd finish 16th or else I'm going home. And I think everyone just did a great job, and I think we're in for one hell of a heat too.
Well, Vidane is back. Heat race number 1 in the books. Gonna step away from the microphones. Keep it tuned to this stream. Heat race 2 coming up from Daytona.
end of a season. For a lot of drivers who have worked their entire lives for this moment. And at the top of the pinnacle, only 2 drivers will have a shot at walking away with the championship belt in the honor of being the Vidane Racing Series champion. Pace car out of the way. 10 laps remaining when we cross the start-finish line, and we are getting ready to have a big finish. This thing could end the race. Green flag flies. Let's crank it up as we run side by side with these 2 drivers.
And that's what it looks like when you're in the fight for a championship. Hogue and Flash now both into the outside lane, where very few have pierced the tread so far tonight.
I'm going to stay with him. I'm going to ride with these guys up in front.
Alright, once you get around me, I'll start listening.
Now Flash tries to get around the 39 and the 38, but the 39 has held up this 22 in this top lane. He's got Corey Stevens in the 803 and Tim Silliman behind him, but all this is doing is building more cushion for Hogue.
Come down, Flash, come down here.
Flash, come down, follow me. Tell me where to go.
Alright, just hold on. Guy in the top of us cannot push right now.
Flash drops to the bottom of the racetrack, and the move of benefit right now because he is pulled up almost even with Hogue. That lower lane has got the momentum, and it certainly has more trucks pushing towards that momentum and that ultimate goal. Flash now side by side with Hogue, and a couple of tandems trying to settle his championship as both of them close on the lead group, which is slowly starting to grow across the start finish.
38-39 force the switch, 22-21 about to do the same thing. Advantage Flash.
Right, go high runs, go high runs, go high runs, go high runs.
10-4.
Try to shake him, man, try to shake him. Coming to you.
Do what you gotta do, Flash.
The 22 now all trying to get back on the bumper of the 83 machine. The 22, check that, he's going to go anywhere. He blows and almost gets himself in trouble.
Youncer! Hello, Ian Flash! Starting to get a little bit dicey, and I don't know why, Joe. Well, I do, because Wes Hogue is right there, and here comes Flash. Pushing broad forward, sticking the nose in the middle now. He'll make it 3 wide. What a risky move by Ian Flash, and Hogue right behind him now. He'll start to the bottom. Hogue side by side with Flash in the championship. Hogue needs desperately to get by the 22 of Flash if he wants any chance at this championship. He's pushing, he's darting, he's jockeying, he's doing whatever he possibly can to find a way around Ian Flash. But there's no time left to speculate. You've got to go. You've got to do what's necessary. Only 4 trips left around Talladega, and they could be the 4 most important of the season.
Where he's going.
He's staying behind me, looking low, go low.
Wes Hogue had a run. No, nicely! Hogan did it! Hogue gets taken out of an accident in turn number 1. The chaos is happening behind him, and that's going to bring out the yellow flag, sealing the fate of Wes Hogue as his championship has gone up in smoke in turn number 1.
Yes! I'm the fucking champion!
The window.
Oh, D-God!
Yes!
Flash. I just got fucked over hard.
Oh my god!
Legendary race to
Nice
finish
championship.
the
Good
Vidane
job,
Racing
buddy.
Series. Ian Crash Flash driving the number 22 Chevrolet Silverado, your champion in Vidane Super Speedway Series number 6.
Back live at the Daytona International Speedway, live on LSRTV. Heat Race 1 in the books for the Vidane Racing Rent-A-Car Super Speedway Series. And now we get set for Duel number 2 at Daytona, now under the lights. Evan Posoko and PD Zeller in the LSRTV broadcast booth. And PD, we just saw what I guess can really only be described as a wild one. We had a lot of big wrecks, and in the end, it was a door-banging side-by-side finish at the end that saw Adam Gilliland take the win.
Well, that last one might have been wild, but now we got a full moon out, so I expect double the wildness in this one. This one has last season's champion, Ian Plash. So far, he is sitting on the pole position, but that could all change as they still have 3 minutes left to qualify. And we just have everything from the last race is swiped, and everyone has a new chance. Everyone in this race will be fighting once again for a top 16 to try to transfer into the big Vidane race next Friday night.
And again, it was the top 18 that would advance last race, as there were a couple of drivers that had provisionals that were up in those spots, so they do not take up. It is the top, I think, 14 positions here, excluding drivers that have not got a provisional will advance. So if there's 5 drivers that have provisionals, the transfer spot could be 19th, depending on where those drivers are, and we'll let you know who they are. So the drivers that have been locked in again by top 20 results in last season are guaranteed to be in the race in 1 week's time. They are only racing for qualifying position. That includes Ian Plash, Julian Bedore, Bryce Senesek, Douglas Denies, Paul Sickland Jr., William Tex Perry, Justin Bolton, and Wesley Hogan. We saw there on that video there in between the 2 races, Plash and Hogue, their battle down to the end last season. We got a long way to go, PD, until we reach that point in this year, but they're going to want to kick off their season with a bang. Qualifying underway, as you mentioned. Plash currently up at the top of the chart as we close in on 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, and he has put up a really good time, a 44.500, which is actually 71 thousandths faster than second. And I think we're in for a very exciting race. Like I said, last race we had a lot of big names in there. We had a couple of pro drivers. Same thing with this one. A bunch of big names, couple of pro drivers, and everyone's just here to have fun and make the big race. And honestly, I expect even a wilder battle in this one, because looking through the field, I don't see a single driver that I don't think doesn't have the driving skill to make the race.
I do not see Wes Hogue in this race either. Again, he came home second in the championship standings last season. And once again, I'm going to run you through the track facts about the Daytona International Speedway. If you're just joining us, heat race number 2, now under the lights. PD, you said it, it's a full moon, and it's not quite a full moon down at the short track, but it is a full moon at the Super Speedway, so things can get pretty wild. And it got pretty wild in the day. So we'll be looking forward to see what happens here under the lights. But the track itself, located obviously Daytona Beach, Florida. Capacity crowd 147,000 fans can pack into a race here on any given week. This track broke ground back in 1957, opened 2 years later in 1959, owned and operated by the ISC, that's the International Speedway Corporation, for a construction cost of $3 million. Now, the track, asphalt surface, 2.5 miles in length, 4 turns, banking at 31 degrees in the turns, 18 on that tri-oval. Again, the start-finish line located in the center of that tri-oval, 2 degrees of banking down the back straightaway. But PD, this one is going to be interesting. There's a lot of big names in this one. Looks like there's 30 drivers so far that put down a time in qualifying. So that, it looks like that's all 30 entries. So 30 cars, that means almost half of this field is going to get cut. I think it's going to be maybe 10 spots or so that will not advance, because again, there are those drivers on those provisionals. But there's a lot of hype around this. Heat Race 1 is out, so now those drivers are back, and some of them are obviously happy with the result, some of them are not. These guys watched that race, now they got to strap in, they got to go racing for 40 more laps.
Yeah, and saying 6th right now as qualifying is ending is our in-race reporter Travis Brown. We will be catching up with him throughout the race tonight. Should be fun, interesting to watch him race, as he is starting very well here from Daytona, and I expect to see him more up front today.
And qualifying now in the final seconds, so those drivers try to get in their final lap times, and we'll take this moment to talk about some of the great sponsors here at Vidane that make this possible. The Vidane Integrated Point System, title sponsor for the Vidane Integrated Point System duels at Daytona, iRacing League Management for leagues that matter. That'll be the Vidane website, www.vidane.net/VIPS. And check that out, obviously, for league scoring, championship standings for your league, and that's going to be coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Also, Rent a Race Car, title sponsor for the Super Speedway Series, race with Stafford Speedway's Dare Stock division. That'll be rentaracecarne.com. That's going to be handed out to the top 2 drives, and there's going to be 2 teams. There's going to be a team, rather, 2 drivers per team, and their points individually will be combined to get their team score, and the team with the best amount of points at the end of the season, they'll be awarded with that opportunity. Also, Xlander Designs for websites, hero cards, prints, and all business needs. It'll be xlander.com, EXLANDR.com, and also RAR Chevette Productions video editing and more from Ian Plash. That'll be facebook.com/RAR Chevette. But the field has been set, PD. We're on the grid, and we're set for heat race number 2. Gonna run you down through the starting grid presented by Rent a Race Car. Ian Plash gonna qualify on pole position, picking up where he left off one season ago. He'll be top spot with a 44.5 flat. Rent Brown going to be qualifying in second on the outside of that front row. Alex Monteferranti going to be starting in third. Zach Johnson in fourth. And Brandon Williams rounding out the top 5.
In 6th position, we have the 033 Strickland Propane of Travis Brown, our in-race reporter today. In 7th, we have the number 88 of Michael Rutana. Actually, that's 7th. In 8th, we have the Damon 68 of Damon Gilbert. In 9th is the number 15 of Garland Meadows. And rounding out your top 10s, the 07 Goodyear Wrench car of Brad Patton.
Justin Bolton's going to roll the 36 car off in position number 11. Bryce Senesac will start in 12th. Bobby Chaney going to be starting in 13th. The 14th place car is going to be Tyler Ducharme. And Nick Del Campo going to round out the top 15.
In 16th, we have the number 56 of J.P. Winchittle. In 17th, we have the number 41 of E.J. O'Rourke. In 18th, we have the number 06 of Spencer E. Burns. And in 19th, the number 94 of Paul Strickland Jr. And rounding out the top 20 is the number 933 of Seth DeMerchant.
Derek Colson, the 57 Chevrolet, will roll from 21st position. Doug Dedines, the number 40 car, and will take P22. Steve Bonesteel, going to be the 25 car, starting 23rd. Dennis Pavel, the 67, going to be starting 24th. Rounding out the top 5, or rather top 25 on the inside of this next row, going to be John Hathaway Jr., the 48 machine.
In 26th, we have the number 70 of William Tex Perry. In 27th is number 47 of Joseph Grijalva. In 28th is the number 13 of Joe Burkett. In 29th is the number 51 of Cody B. Miller. And rounding out the top 30 is Jonathan Thomas.
And there is one additional entry that did not get an opportunity to put down a time in the qualifying session. He's going to be starting 31st, and rounding out your field tonight, going to be Connor Ojeda. So the 333 car 31st. And that is your field. All these cars are going to be battling for just a handful of spots. The inside row, the main event in 1 week's time, which is going to be a 250-mile, 100-lap affair live on LSRTV, has been set. So these finishing orders are going to be determining the outside lane. So winner here will start second. Second place in this race will start fourth, etc. And so this determines the outside, and Race Control giving us updated numbers. 16 of the non-provisional drivers are going to advance into the next race, which again is going to put that transfer position right around in that same spot, PD, that we saw last race. We're in 3 and 4. We're getting set for the green flag.
Quick notes, I expect to see Ian Plash starting from the pole here tonight, and second is Rent Brown, and that should be an interesting start because at nighttime, from what I've heard from a couple of drivers, the outside lane gets a little bit more grippier, which could lead to some more racing side to side.
We have seen a lot of bumper hook, a lot of cars getting turned in pressure-tight situations. Crack number 2, heat race number 2. We're going to go at it again. That Daytona International Speedway getting set for 40 laps now under the lights. Pace car down to pit road. Ian Plash in control of the field. The green flag flies. We're racing from Daytona side by side at the stripe. Plash going to get a run down low.
This thing is single out. Travis Brown gets out on the inside, and that will leave the 5 car and the 527 on the outside to try to get a run on Ian Plash and the number 87. As things are actually double file pretty deep here, they are racing a little aggressive already, and things are getting a little bit exciting on lap number 1.
And again, we're going to be talking with Travis Brown later on. He will be our in-race reporter in the 033 machine. But the outside lane holding tough here, like in these night conditions. We're going to get nose-to-nose for the top spot. Only issue is that outside lane is going to stall out once they have to go up that hill. They become disconnected. The 527 Zach Johnson can't get on the back bumper of Rents Brown anymore. That's going to give an advantage to Ian Plash out of the corner, inside lane by a car length as they come out of fourth at I-24. Going to be leading lap number 1.
Much unlike the last race, the back is kind of single filing out, taking it easy early, and that's probably the smart thing to be doing right now, is they all just want to keep their cars in one piece. They probably watched the last one and thought, you know what, if I don't want to do what them guys did. If I keep my car in one piece and it's there at the end, there's no reason I can't get a transfer spot.
Yeah, again, it was last race that on that final restart, if you were on the lead lap, you were into the main event. One car down to the apron and maybe dropping back, not sure, but the 87 of Alex Monteferranti dropped down low behind the double yellow line. It looks like he got shot at a line and was not doing that by plan, and he's going to go all the way to the back in a UPS Freight Chevrolet.
And things just got really interesting as he got Freight Train there, and he has a long way to go now, and I'm sure was not in his race plan, and that's a tough break because he lost the draft and all that too, and Alex will need a caution to catch back up to the field.
Well, I'll tell you, here comes the outside lane, the 5 of Rents Brown up top with help for the 527 Zach Johnson. They're caught up there, the 68's up there as well, the 09 car, but it is still Ian Plash on the inside. The 5 car did have him at the start-finish line, and you mentioned that the back half of the pack here, BD, is kind of single-filed out, which is opposite to that of what we saw in the first heat race. The first heat race, it was the front of the field that single-filed out. The back of the pack was where all the action was. Right now, we are still double-file throughout the top 10. A little bit of 3-wide going on around 12th. They sort that thing out, but 2 wide from first to about 15th position, side-by-side. It is Ian Plash that time at the stripe.
And they are side by side. It's really respectful racing. They're not getting too close. They're not trying to get the side draft. They're just racing side by side, keeping a car length between each other, and it's working right now. And it's producing some amazing racing so far, as Ian Plask is still your leader here, but he is getting a good fight from Rents Brown, and Rents Brown will actually have the run here. It'll be interesting to see if he gets clear of Plask, if he will pull down or help the 527 try to get by Plask.
Well, we have seen in the earlier races, PD, that there's a car up there on the outside lane. He'll get a run, and he will leave his drafting partner. That's what just happened right there. Rents Brown going to drop down to the inside line. That leaves the 527 of Zach Johnson up top. Johnson's going to get help now. He'll become the lead car on the outside. He has assistance from the 68 of Damon Gilbert, but now it is the 5 car who leads that inside line. No longer Ian Plash in the number 1 position, and the 527 wants a crack at that 5 car who just hung him out to dry. Still side by side for the number 1 spot.
And maybe this is feeding in that whole thing that some drivers told me. They told me that in the night races, the top side will be more grippy along with the bottom, and they said they expect more side-by-side racing here. And I guess that might be what we're seeing right now, is actually they're starting to tandem a little bit. Maybe testing that out early in the race, seeing how long they can do before their engine gets hot, is the 5 car being pushed by Ian Plask is going to clear the 527 as him and the 68 got split up on the outside.
And there was a little bit of connection code or something, net code connection issue or something, because the 527 had a little bit of an issue. They're fine now, but that separated him from the 68, and Ian Plash wants to lead back. The 924 back out to the outside lane, and it's the 5 car that's going to be going backwards. The 924 letting him know that it's just too hot riding in line. He wants to clean air. He's got to run. He's not going to have enough time, will he? Because just as he starts to get hooked up, the 29 gets on the back bumper of the 5 car. Brandon Williams, he will. Ian Plash ducks down in line. He retains the number 1 spot and the lead car on that inside lane. It is still the 527 of Zach Johnson, who is trying to get around that top spot, working the outside lane. There's 4 cars in that main top lane at the moment. The 527, 68 of David Gilbert, the 09 up there as well, that's Bryce Senesek, and the 36 machine of Justin Bolton. We're door-to-door for second position, still going at it, but that 527 trying to lead that charge, still 2 wide, about 4 rows deep.
Great racing going on. These drivers are racing insane here. The speeds of 200 miles an hour side by side, and they're doing great. Not getting too close, trying to keep a safe distance, and it's working so far. We've seen cars get pushed to the front. One car racing the lead pack earlier was the 87 of Alex Monteferrani, and things have gone from bad to worse. When he lost the draft, he is now 15 seconds behind the pack and dropping it. He's going to need a caution or he's going to get lapped.
We have trouble. Paul Strickland Jr., one of the cars sitting on a provisional, as And this is the second time we've had to mention this, PD, the fact that the iRacing equivalency of a mechanical failure is a dropped connection. Paul has dropped connection from the sim. He will finish in 31st position. Actually, he has reconnected, so he will attempt to get back on track, but will be at least 2 laps down as he still loads into his stall. So that leaves us with 30 cars on the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap is over 14 seconds back. That's that 87 of Alex Monteferranti, who we talked about, PD. Got knocked out of line there, got hooked out of line down the back straightaway, and he has lost a lot of time. If this thing stays green, and these guys, we have seen a lot of door-to-door. It has been close just now as the 527 finally gets it on the outside. It's Zach Johnson to the lead, but if we stay green, that number 87 machine of Monteferranti will definitely go 1 lap down if they continue to run. And there it is. There's a caution flag, so he'll be saved. We got trouble 1 car into the wall. It's the 47 of Joseph Grijalva.
That sucks for all the guys racing up front, because that happened in the back. That front pack, they were side by side, 2 rows deep, all the way back to 23rd, but a caution won that quick.
And it's another one of those incidents where there was a little bit of bumper hook. Take a look at a replay right now, and the 47 was on the back bumper. Rather, the 47 was being pushed, and it looked like the 27 moved up a little bit, hooked the 47. Some of the drivers saying the 47 may have had some slight connection issues, but the 47 is going to bring out the yellow. He is the only car really involved in that. There were a couple of guys that had some close calls trying to get around him as he was nose first into the outside retaining wall. I want to double check to make sure nobody caught him. It looks like William Perry's machine drove right through the back of that car and avoided what could have, and I guess if you want to say what should have been, some pretty severe damage. Trying to take a look. Oh, no, the 70 had a little bit of a delayed reaction. William Tex Perry actually lost his engine. So the 70 Toyota machine, who just clipped it, it looked like he initially was going to get safe there, PD, maybe lagging through that car a little bit, as some drivers were reporting some connection issues there. But William Perry loses his engine on that. He'll have to take a tow to pit road. He does get one reset, but again, he'll have to take that tow, and he is already locked in, so that may end his night early. Hello? So working our first caution flag of the evening right now, 29 cars being shown on the lead lap. Again, Paul Strickland Jr., he has rejoined. He's actually going to be caught 4 laps out of it as he runs right now, but we're under the caution flag. We're going to step away for a quick commercial break. You're watching the Vidane Integrated Point System Duel 2 live from the Daytona International Speedway. More on the other side. Back live at the Daytona International Speedway. Update on the number 94 cars. You tune into the Vidane Integrated Point System. Duel 2 live from the Daytona International Speedway. The inside row for the big race 1 week's time has already been set. Tonight, now under the lights for the second duel, we're determining the outside lane, but the 94 of Paul Strickland Jr., who we mentioned, Petey, he dropped connection. He has reconnected, and the race control has announced that they will give up to 5 waiver rounds for a car that drops connection, so Paul's going to be able to get back to the lead lap. That will leave William Perry as the only car off the lead lap. The number 70 Toyota got caught up in that incident, had to take what appeared to be a tow, and he sits 2 laps down.
Also update on the 06 of Spencer Burns. He was EOL'd for severe connection issues, so he's going to have a long way to go and a short time to get there because he does not have a provisional in this race, which is oh so important, a theme we have seen so far. And after the pit stops, the leader is Zach R. Johnson in the 527, followed by Ian Plash in the 924, as we get ready to go racing, and 1 lap as the lights go off on the pace car.
Couple cars coming down pit road towards the tail end of the lead lap. The 70 car is in, the 67, the 25, the 40, the 57. So those cars are down on pit road getting their repairs done and whatnot. A couple of cars, wow, close call. The 54 of Paul Strickland, we need to get this up on replay. He was coming at full speed to get his wave around, and a couple of the drivers did not notice. The 54 car nearly just took out half the field, or rather half the field tried to wreck him because he was getting his wave around, or rather the 94 of Paul Strickland Jr., my apologies, getting his wave around, and a couple of guys just pulled up on him and nearly took him out, and that could have got real ugly. It was 3 wide at one point. He's able to get around, and we're going to get set for another restart. Lights off at a pace car. It'll be lap 13 for the restart, and it's going to be Zach R. Johnson who is going to be the control car for this restart.
The trend we noticed last race was we have 1 quick repair here. Now some drivers have used their 1 quick repair. They do not have another one. They're involved in the wreck, and they don't have a provisional. That's the end of their next 2 weeks. It should be exciting, but that's not what we're focusing on right now. Right now, Ian Plash and Zach R. Johnson will be racing for the lead when they get ready to go green, and the battle for 16th will heat up.
So we get set to go off of our first caution flag of the race. Going to be restart number 2. Pace car is going to lead us at a quarter number 4. Front row would be the 527 and the 924. Up on that front lane, the 5, the 68 going to make up row number 2. Pace car gets set to dive down the sharp left-hand turn to the safety of pit road. There it goes. Field in the hands of the 527. Green flag flies. We're at it once again. And a great start for the outside lane of Ian Plash. The 924 has a nose. They're going to be side by side down into quarter number 1.
They're going to leave off right where they left off as they race side by side, quite a few rows deep. As the racing heats up here from Daytona, getting up to speed. With the 524, 27 will pull away a little bit, but we should see the outside line get their momentum back, as there is a big bobble with the 29 back there as he got contact from Travis Brown.
And here comes that outside lane. They have a push. The 68 and the 924 going to get a run on the outside lane. The 924 is clear. Does he wait to bring the 68 with him? They're pushing in the corner. I don't think the Wrangler machine's going to have enough room. However, the 527 has no help. I think they're going to get it on the outside lane. Both those cars get clear. Ian Plash back to the number 1 spot. The 68 of Damon Gilbert on the assist there. He'll go to second. 3 wide now. The 36 car of Justin Bolton through the middle. It's Travis Brown on the other end of that. He was on the top side. He slides back in line now.
And once again, they are about side by side till about 20th position right now, just battling insanely for these positions. And notable that's 20th that they're racing with, that this big pack does contain the transfer position, unlike the last race where all there was a bunch of little packs. This one just has 1 big pack, and that should make the racing that much more exciting.
Paul Strickland again struggling. He just dropped connection from the sim again, so big trouble connection-wise for the 94 team of Paul Strickland Jr. Good news for him is that he is sitting on a provisional. Otherwise, that could have been catastrophic. Here we go. Next challenge. Oh, what a move. The 29 car dives down to the bottom. Wasn't sure if that was going to work out, but it does pay off, and that's going to get the 29 of Brandon Williams down in line. He's actually going to leave now. The 36 of Justin Bolton out up top with no help. The 5 car of Brent Brown comes to the bottom. He's going to bring the 09 of Bryce Senesac with him as well. And that 36 machine going the wrong direction up top down the back straightaway.
Here's something we haven't seen a lot of today. Single file racing as things calm down for the lead. there about single file back to 5th is Zach Johnson. Ian Plash has the lead over number 68 with Zach Johnson in 3rd. And they are just calmly racing, running down the laps, and trying to get to about 10 to go before they want to heat things up for that second starting position.
So single file now within the top 6. First side-by-side battle, it's Travis Brown that wants to get going. The 033 jumps out to the outside lane. 36 is going to contact 15 up. The 07 car is going to get turned. He hangs on to it for the moment. The 98 is going to get clipped. Do they all hang on? They don't. Now caution will reckon behind them. Has trouble in 1 and 2. Caution in the fly, trying to get a number on the car that eventually goes around.
The
There's
98.
2 cars slow. It looks like the 48 car maybe. The replay going live now, and there's a lot of checking up. I think the caution is going to fly for the 48 car, who is the car that actually got about 45 degrees sideways down in the corner. That was Doug Denise, or rather not Doug Denise driving the number 40 car, but the 48 of John Hathaway Jr. tried to check up, got to the apron, and got tipped by the 57, which sent him around, and that got him rear end damage. So I do believe that is what is going to cause the caution. Again, that big melee there, PD, they're able to hang on to it. Not sure how. There were cars bouncing off each other. It just started from one car sliding up off the bottom, just that slightest bit. And it set that chain of events that evidently puts us under our second yellow of this race.
Despite it causing a caution, that was a great save by John Hathaway Jr. It shouldn't have really been a caution, but it was. And he's going to go back to 29th position, and that is not what he needed. But great save by him, and just everyone up there made excellent saves. And man, we've seen some great racing tonight.
So this puts us under our second caution, as we mentioned, and this will make the next restart after the halfway point. And we're going to try to queue up our in-race reporter. Going to be the 033 machine. That's going to be Travis Brown, in-race reporter for us tonight. So we'll try to queue him up on the radio, get a word with him as he rides right now P6. Travis Brown, Evan Pasoko, PDZL, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Travis, right now you're running in 6th position after starting in 6th, so you've had to kind of work for that. We've seen you up top working with Justin there a little bit. What's the strategy here? You guys are working the second caution. You guys coming down pit road right now for your only stop?
Yeah, hopefully this is our only stop. Should be our only one for fuel. So me and my teammate Brandon Williams are going to work together here and try to pull out the W, but ultimately just try to make the
You guys aren't sitting on any provisionals, so definitely cannot afford many issues. I know you guys have one reset available. What's your strategy moving forward? You mentioned your teammate was there. Do you guys think the high side's going to be the key?
It really just depends on really who's up there and if they're pushing or not, and just really depends on the speed of the guys and all that good stuff. Haven't figured out if there's a preferred line, because there for a little bit the high outside was slow, and then that last turn it looked like the high side was faster, so I don't really know, honestly.
We'll let you get back down on your team radio. Before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to throw out there?
Just Fastlane Motorsports and BART Competition. They helped me out quite a bit. Thank y'all for putting it.
Well, good luck here moving forward, Travis. Hopefully you can get the victory lane. We'll have some Gatorade waiting for you.
Alright, appreciate it.
That was Travis Brown in the 033 Strickland Propane Chevrolet.
And interesting enough to note, it does appear that the 57 car PD of Derek Colson has not come down pit road. So that would cycle him through the race leader, assuming he doesn't come down this time by.
Man, he was running in the back there. He was actually involved in that caution. This is a very interesting strategy. This is... Maybe he just doesn't... He's moving from 15th to 1st. Maybe he just doesn't think he had the car with the damage to
I
transfer.
think this may work. It looks like he pitted on lap 12 after being involved in an incident, PD, so he may be good.
Derek Colson may have just pulled off the strategy. I actually know Derek Colson very well, and coming into this race, he was very, very excited to race in Vidane. He's always wanted to do this, and Derek, I'm sure he didn't expect to be leading the race at this point, but Derek's just done a great strategy job and fooled the whole field.
And to get an update on Wes Ho, got a couple of people asking here on the live broadcast, not in tonight's race. as he did not take the start. So if he did, he would have had the provisional. However, those cars do need to make a start, which means I believe that means he's not going to be eligible moving forward for the main event in 1 week's time. So interesting to keep note on that. Light still on the pace car this time by, so at least one more circuit around, wave around car going by. Going to be again Paul Strickland Jr., who is working with, and it's very agitating, PD, when you have these connection issues. You know you got a fast car, and you just don't get an opportunity to utilize it. He has dropped connection twice. Again, each time they can give him up to 5 wave rounds to get it back on the lead lap, because that is something out of their hand. So he'll get waved around again, but he's hoping that he can stay hooked up here, and he'll be able to finish this race out. But again, he is one of those drivers that has provisionals. Going to run you down through them again. So if you hear these names, these drivers, doesn't matter where they finish, they will move on. They are racing for qualifying position in the main event. Those drivers include Ian Plash, Julian Vidor, Brian Senesac, Douglas Denies, Paul Strickland Jr., William Perry, Justin Bolton, and Wesley Hogue. A couple of those drivers I know are not in here, so excluding them, the top 16 cars that do not have provisionals will advance. So that again put us in that maybe 18th position range or so, like we saw last race, for the cutoff, which is equally as important, if not more important, than walking away with the trip to victory lane.
Yeah, very interesting here. Once again with Derek Coulson's strategy move, I'm sure since he was racing in the back, I'm sure his friends were in the back. He might not have any friends up here, so it'll be interesting to see which lane he takes on the restart. And I think this is going to be very interesting to see how this works out, as he's going to take the halfway mark.
As we work at a 4, again, Light's still on the pace car, so when we cross the stripe here, going to be 21 to go, so I think we will go green at that lap 21 mark, which will mark the halfway point in this race. 30 cars on the lead lap. Paul Strickland Jr. back on the lead lap via the wave rounds. William Perry still the only car that is not on the lead lap. He continues to sit 2 laps down after losing his engine after getting involved in an incident earlier on in the race. Had to take that tow to pit road, which cost him to get knocked down the time that he sits. So lights are off at a base car. We get set. We're going to go green. It will be 20 to go, so halfway mark will be initiated and will be marked by this next restart. As we get set to go at it once again, Derek Coulson, you mentioned, may have pulled the rabbit out of the hat here after pitting on lap 12 for fuel, which, by the way, is only 1 lap previous, or 1 lap shorter than when we saw everybody come down in heat race number 1. So you have to assume the 57 should be good if he can ride out maybe 1 caution and be set to the end. So he'll go from the back of the pack, as you mentioned, after qualifying 21st to the number 1 spot. He'll be control car on this restart.
Derek just has to be tickled pink right now, because he didn't even know he was going to make the show, and he's up here leading this race right now, shocking the world. Very cool to see, but he has trouble behind him. Ian Plask on the outside should be extremely strong, and Derek Coulson actually does have a little left front damage, we have just noticed, and it'll be interesting. The lead car, he'll be picking up all the air will be coming at him, so that's going to negatively affect him more than it will affect anyone else.
And Ian Plash just letting him know now over the radio that he is working some minor damage, so the driver is now aware of that, and we will see what happens from here on out. So into 3 and 4, going to be a halfway point restart. As championship winner 1 year ago, taking home the Vidane belt, Ian Plash will now be forced to go to the outside lane. You're watching live on LSRTV, Vidane Racing Season 7, powered by iRacing.com, sponsored by Rent-A-Race Car and the Vidane Integrated Point System, Duels at Daytona. Here we go, pace car gets set to dive down, and it is going to be the 57 in control. Let's see what he can do, Petey.
Yeah, the 57 will come down on the green flag, and he will lead him as he takes off right about, actually he faked that, and he will take off now, but Ian Plask actually got the run on that restart. Is there door-to-door, side-by-side racing, but Derek took away Ian Plask's teammate in the 68, so that might help Derek in the long run here.
Yeah, that 924 has been real solid on the outside lane when it comes to trying to be even with or even put up a fight for the number 1 spot immediately off restarts. And trouble, caution flag gonna fly. We have trouble behind our leaders. The 48 car is in it once again. I see John Hathaway Jr. Big damage on Doug Denies' number 40 Chevrolet. He's got some heavy smoke coming from his engine, but he's an innocent victim. It looks like the car that got sent around for the 2nd time tonight It is the 48 of John Hathaway. A rough night going on for him. Going to get an update and see what happened on that. And it looks like, 27 machine may have drifted up, and that's Jonathan Thomas in 1 and 2. Looks like the 27 may have come up a little bit. 48 was riding in a acceptable spot for the outside lane, and it looks like he just got hooked on that left rear, got turned, went back up into the outside wall, and that's a rough start to the night for Jonathan Hathaway.
And update from race control, 18 are transferring at the current moment. So that right now would be Dennis Pavel. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that 18th position. If we can keep a bunch of cars in the lead lap, just past halfway, Derek Colston's still the leader, pulling off the old trick on the field.
So Doug Denies is forced to come down pit road to get service done to his machine. He's one of our drivers that sits on a provisional. So he'll come down to get service. But again, the 48 of John Hathaway, 2 times tonight, PD, that he's been taken out, and it was not of his bad. He was just a victim of circumstances, and it's tough. Not only the fact that you roll into these races and it's a super speedway, so you really have a limited effectiveness that you can do on your destiny here, because a lot of this is out of your control. The fact that he has been taken out in almost essentially 2 isolated incidents, just him, 2 different cars. You have to imagine the frustration, obviously, that he must be feeling, plus the fact that he is not sitting on a provisional. So he's about 29th place right now. That's at least 10 spots out of what what the last transfer position would be. So the 48 needs work done. He's used up his quick fix, so he has damage. Not looking good for the 48 team.
Same story with the 40. His motor is blown, and he has now a quick repair. He is trying to get it repaired a little bit. Did Derek pit? The 57,
look, yeah.
Colson did bring it down to pit road.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Maybe he just wanted to lead. I do not know, but I thought he could make it. I don't know about you.
I believe he should have, because that was, again, only 1 lap prior to... that was only 1 lap shorter than what we saw the guys in heat race number 1 do. Is the fact that he overshot his stall on pit road, so that's going to cost him some time. Not that big of a deal, because not a lot of lead lap cars actually came down pit road that time, but interesting. I thought that he would have been able to make it, but nonetheless, he comes down, he gets tires, and PD, you got him queued up on the radio.
Derek Colson, this is PD's down in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got it.
Derek, you made an interesting stretch called stayed out. Seems as though you pit early. What brought you back down pit road? We thought you could have made it on gas.
Well, I can make it on gas. We were lining up there for the race laps. The car on the outside, Ian, whatever, I can't remember his name, but he informed me I had a little bit of damage on the left front, and on that last run there, the car felt a little tight, so I figured I'd come down and make sure it wasn't bent up too bad. It's still a little early enough that I think I can make my way back up through there, so better safe than sorry.
Well, Derek, that's sort of a heartbreak, but we still have a long race ahead of you. It's going to be about 15 going to get the green. Do you think you have what it takes to get back up to the front and possibly even win this race?
I don't know about winning it. It's those top. It seems like you need the clean air to really do anything. But I mean, because it's really hard to pass. I mean, there's this, unless you've got right on somebody's bumper, you're not really passing. You're just kind of darting around and bouncing around. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of strategy, because I'm sure some of these other guys are going to make some pit strategy here, and if we get another yellow or something. So yeah, we'll see how it works out. So if I get back up there, I might be able to do something.
18th is the magic number right now, Derek. Do you think you can get to that at least?
I should be able to get there. That's been my goal the whole race. I mean, I want just to transfer and then go from there. So if I get that, we'll be good.
All right, Derek. Well, we hope to see you up front in this race. But before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank or any sponsors?
I don't have any sponsors on this car. Obviously, want to thank the Tex William Perry, Six Guns Paint Shop. I'll have a new paint scheme probably next week, and maybe even this week if I make the race. And probably all my buddies over in XCal, and Michael Cozy and Spencer Preet for all the help that those guys give me, and Jared Davis and all the guys that are running the FTP League, and just anybody that's out there watching.
All right, well, that was Derek Colson, number 57, making his friend Aaron Hillbush proud here tonight. Thank you for joining us, Derek. We hope to see you up front before this race is over.
So we still sit under the yellow flag condition. The lights are still on the pace car. So again, these cautions seem to be a additional lap than what they would normally be. This is going to set us up for what I believe is going to be a 15 lap to go restart. Petey, some of these guys, and as interesting as I have to say the chat has been all night long in the live stream, the driver radio, in order to keep themselves entertained, I know a couple of these guys, I've heard some Fergie being sung over the radio, but they're going to have to get back in the zone here. 15 laps to go from this point on, and again, it seems like this race just started. We've been racing for over a half hour, sitting on these 3 cautions. It's only going to be 15 laps to go.
Well, I've been listening to the radio on this thing. There's some real funny guys in here. I heard one guy talking about how this race is equivalent to the cautions of the nationwide race.
Well, I'm taking, I think, JP Winchell, the 56 car, he's singing some Fergie. There's a couple of the guys. Yeah, that's right. So when they're going to go back and watch this, and they're going to be called out on what they're doing over the radio, because we can hear all. There's a couple other guys. Nicki Minaj has been sung over the radio.
I just heard Anaconda.
Yeah. So maybe it's a good thing that we cannot have the audio playing from the drivers over the stream. But the lights are off in the pace car, so let's get going here. 2.5 miles till we go back green flag racing. It is going to be 15 laps to go. I am going to 100% here, PD, on the spot. Who wins this race?
Well, you've really put me on the spot here, but I'm going to go with Seth the Merchant, the 933.
The 933 getting PD's vote. He sits, I think it's actually going to be 8th. He was scored 7th at the stripe, but he is on the outside lane. I think you're going to have to, or at least my pick, I'm liking the 527 to Jack Johnson. He's been working real good as a pusher, and at Daytona coming out of turn number 4, there's that the age-long debate. Do you want to be first? Do you want to be second? Where do you want to be if you want to make that pass? Do you want to be the guy playing the defense? I think the 527, he's been good pushing, and I think that he can put that K&N EHR Toyota in victory lane. So we'll find out, but again, that cutoff still circling, maybe around 18th position. It all depends on how many of these drivers that already have their provisionals remain up there in the top 15, which would obviously push that transfer spot back down the list. So we look forward to this. 28 cars on the lead lap as they run right now. And a couple of connection issues going on in the back. But right now, last car on the lead lap, the 40 to John Hathaway. He got his quick fix, but he actually has a pretty good-looking car, so he's not out of this one either.
That is surprising to me. And Spencer Burns has just informed everyone that transfer spot is his, so I'm going to be watching him, I guess.
Well, here we go. Pace car gets set to dive down to pit road once more. Pace car hits pit road. 68, Damon Gilbert in control of the field. Green flag flies, and we're racing once again. The 924 of Ian Plash, not as strong as last time, but a decent start. 29 gets left out to try. Brandon Williams on the outside lane did not get going, and huge run for the inside lane.
Ian Plask has no friends up there right now, so he's going to get freight trained all the way back to around 5th before this cycle's out, as the 68 gets the lead with your pick, the 527, pushing him away from the field, but they do not want to get too far away.
3 wide, here we go.
3 wide, Insane Racing, the 29, 924, and I think that was the 07, as they are still 3 wide, and man, they're making some quick moves now, as Travis Brown is pushing the 29 by the number 36, and they're coming to the front.
Bolton's going to drop down the line, and it's Ian Plash going the opposite direction. We just talked to Travis Brown. Oh, contact!
The 29 and the 5, big whack!
Sideways
Everyone.
in front of the field. This is going to be a big one. Huge wreck in turn 4. At least a dozen cars involved.
4109, 33305.
They're still wrecking.
Everyone.
Caution will fly once again, and I was just about to say that we talked to Travis Brown under that caution flag, and he said he was going to work with his teammate, the 29 car, and get up through the field. It was working. Him and Brandon Williams were flying on the outside. Ian Platt, for the first time tonight, was going backwards. And it looked like the 5 car just lost it there in the corner. Not sure if there was a checkup, and got down to the double yellow line as we get working on that replay. But the 5 car of Rance Brown just gets a little nervous there, gets squirrely, goes up the racetrack just as the 29 kind of came down a little bit to get that pinch off the corner. And the 5 car got into the 29. The 36 car is in it at least. Take a look. And again, they wrecked for quite some time afterwards. The 09, the 07, the 25, 67, 15. Again, a very large amount of cars involved in that one. And because of that, again, that buffer for the championship, that cutoff continues to shuffle. And I can guarantee you most of this field is out of that one quick fix.
Oh man, one issue for Travis Brown working to the front with his teammate, the number 29. His teammate is no longer up there, so he's going to have to figure out something as he sits in the 3rd position. We're going to restart with around 10 to go here, similar to the last heat. The only difference in this one is the racing has been way more electric. They've been side by side around 10 rows deep here. It's just been amazing racing, and there's still 28 cars on the lead lap. Racing for that final spot, and some big names got taken out in that wreck. EJ Aurora, Connor Ojeda, Rents Brown, Brian Sinetic, Justin Bolton. I even think JP got a little action in there. And there was some big names collected in that wreck, but it's not over. They have a quick repair if they haven't all used it already. And
Nick Del Campo going to be another one of those drivers that got involved in that. And he's not happy because he got on the brakes to slow down, and it was the 48 car who just didn't get on the brakes enough. And the 48 essentially pushed Nick Del Campo into a stationary number 41 car out of the corner. So Nick obviously not satisfied with that. He's down on pit road. He has substantial damage on his machine. And like you said, just like the other race, we're going to be going for it here. Less than 10 to go for another restart. We have to keep in mind that cutoff as John Hathaway Jr. has finally had enough with the connection problems, and he has exited the race. He'll be done. It appears John Hathaway Jr., not Paul Strickland Jr. John Hathaway Jr. has disconnected. He's not one of the drivers. Got him confused there with the 94 car. So Paul's still in this race. At this point, I have to say, Peter, you got to think of the same same circumstances as race 1. Safest spot, P1.
exactly. And we just talked to Derek Colson, and he's actually back up to 13th, but he has one problem. He thought he had damage before. He no longer has a rear end on his car, and he chose not to pit. So I guess he's just going to try to finish this race, the number 57 of Derek Colson, with no rear end on his car.
And there is a lot still to go down here as the opening night with the Vidane Racing Series on LSRTV, the duels at Daytona. And again, our night of racing is starting to come to a close. Just over 10 laps left in heat race number 2. We're going to step away for our final commercial break during the racing action here tonight. And when we come back, we'll bring you for a 10 lap to go, maybe less than 10 to go restart. You're watching Daytona International Speedway, the Vidane Integrated Point System. Duel 2, under the lights tonight. We'll be back with more racing action on the other side.
He essentially pitted for nothing. Oh, no.
The end of a season for a lot of drivers who have worked their entire lives for this moment. And at the top of the pinnacle, only 2 drivers will have a shot at walking away with the championship belt and the honor of being the Vidane Racing Series champion. Pace car out of the way. 10 laps remaining when we cross the start-finish line, and we are getting ready to have a big finish. This thing could end the race. Green flag flies. Let's crank it up as we run side by side with these 2 drivers.
And that's what it looks like when you're in the fight for a championship. Hogue and Flash now both into the outside lane, where very few have pierced the tread so far tonight.
I'm gonna stay with him. I'm gonna ride with these guys up the front.
Alright, once you get around me, I'll start listening.
Now Flash tries to get around the 39 and the 38, but the 39 has held up this 22 in this top lane. He's got Corey Stevens in the 803 and Tim Silliman behind him, but all this is doing is building more cushion for Hogue.
Come down, Flash. Come down here. Flash, come down. Follow me. Tell me where to go.
Alright, just hold on. Guy on the top of us cannot push right now.
Flash drops to the bottom of the racetrack, and the move of benefit right now because he is pulled up almost even with Hogue. That lower lane has got the momentum, and it certainly has more trucks pushing towards that momentum and that ultimate goal. Flash now side by side with Hogue, and a couple of tandems trying to settle his championship as both of them close on the lead group, which is slowly starting to grow in construction.
38-39 forces switch, 22-21 about to do the same thing. Advantage Flash.
Right, go high runs, go high runs, go high runs, go high runs.
10-4.
Try to shake him, man. Try to shake him. Coming to you.
Do what you gotta do, Flash.
The 22 now all trying to get back on the bumper of the 83 machine. The 22, check that. He's going to go anywhere. Blows and almost gets himself in trouble.
Yousters! Hello, Ian Flash. Starting to get a little bit dicey, and I don't know why, Joe. Well, I do, because Wes Hogue is right there, and here comes Flash. Pushing broad, work, sticking the nose in the middle now. He'll make it 3 wide. What a risky move by Ian Flash, and Hogue right behind him now. He'll start to the bottom. Hogue side by side with Flash in the championship.
Hogue need.
Green flag flies, we're racing down into quarter number 1. It is 10 laps to go this next time as Damon Gilbert works lap number 31. He is your race leader. Ian Flash will slide into the number 2 spot. He looks high. He wants the top spot. Does he have help? Yes, he does. The 933, that's Seth the Merchant, rather. He goes to the outside lane. He'll have help. They leave that 68 machine behind, and Flash into Merchant to the top spots.
Picking him up will be from 56 of JP Winchell, and I have no idea where JP has come from. We haven't mentioned his name all race, and here he is battling for the win, taking advantage of the cautions to get up to the front. But Ian Flash and Seth the Merchant are pulling away from the field right now, which isn't necessarily a good thing here.
So side by side throughout the pack, and a couple cars going backwards. The 88 machine. How about Michael Rotenda? Now trouble back in the pack. Caution flag gonna fly. The 07 machine. Brad Patton is gone around. The 5 machine of Rents Brown is around as well. Caution will fly once again, and it looks like the 5 car stuck a nose out, and they were running in line, and for some reason the 5 car decided to go to the outside and just hook that 07 into the wall. The 09 machine is in it as well, and unfortunately we once again return to the caution flag period after an incident that really I don't think was necessary towards the back end of the pack as we get working on that replay going up.
Looks like it was just hard racing again, but you know, we're late in the race. They're fighting for that last transfer spot. Wrecks happen sometimes, and they were just battling hard, and sometimes that's a result of hard racing.
So we slow them down once again, and I think this next restart is going to be the final one. It'll be maybe 4 to go in that range, 5-4 to go, and at that point the next caution would end it. So this is going to be the final shot at it, and Ian Flash somehow, someway has managed to get back to the top spot. Top spot, control car on the restart. If they wreck right away, then the 924, no one's going to get a shot at him, P. No one's even going to get an opportunity to try to pass him. So this final restart, like we saw in heat race number 1, who knows what can go down. There's transfer spots still up for grabs. There's still about 24 cars on the lead lap. Brad Patton is behind the wall, so Nick Del Campo is the last car on the lead lap with no back end. He is trying to sneak his way into this one. PD, no prerequisite. The 05 of Nick Campbell is not locked in. So although he has a lot of damage, he's hoping that he can pick up a few spots here, maybe 5 spots away for the final transfer spot to try to punch his ticket to next week's race.
Looking down through the field right now, there's some guys that have driven their way through this field. The 933 is coming from 20th to 2nd. JP is coming from like 18th to 4th. Spencer Burns from 18th to 6th. And Steve Bonesteel is coming from 23rd to 7th. It's just been some great racing as we are going to talk to our in-race reporter, Travis Brown, momentarily.
We're going to try to cue him up on the radio once again, and we'll talk to him here. Last time we talked to him, he was up inside the top 10 running order, and this time by going to get an updated number as he crosses the start-finish line. It is going to be 13th position. Travis Brown, you got a copy on the radio?
Yeah.
Well, we saw that you guys were flying up there on the outside lane. You did exactly what you told us you were going to, and unfortunately your teammate got hooked. You're going to be 13th. He'll be right in front of you once again. So obviously I can anticipate you two are going to try to hook up, but with a limited amount of time, do you guys think you're going to be able to get the job done here?
If it stays green, we think we have a really, really good shot at it. But if we get a caution, excuse me, in the first couple of laps of this run and it ends like that, we probably won't have a shot at the win. But definitely a top 10, no matter what. It's been a really good night for us. Hate that we got involved in that big wreck there, but we were just going for it there. We were digging. We knew that if we made that work, we were going to be in the lead and in good shape for the rest of it.
There's always a risk versus reward that you have to keep into effect, Travis, and knowing that you are not locked in, you don't have a provisional, that transfer spot is only 5 positions behind you. So how do you balance not only trying to work with your teammate, we saw how fast you were, there's no question in that, how do you two balance, not only trying to go for the win, because again, you said if there's a couple green flag laps, it is possible to get that job done on the outside lane if you guys can get hooked up, but if not, how are you going to be able to stay in front of, that final transfer spot? Is it worth racing that hard for it?
I feel like if we just keep our noses clean, we shouldn't have too big of an issue staying in the transfer positions. It's just a matter of, like you said, risk versus reward. We want to win it. We're both pretty competitive, and we know how fast we are. We've had a lot of speed, and we want to get that done. But like I said earlier, our ultimate goal is to make it in. So we're just going to balance that risk versus reward. We're not going to give in or anything and take it too easy. We're going to go to the front here, but we're definitely going to not do anything stupid.
So Travis, what's it like adjusting from racing street stocks at Martinsville to racing cup cars at Daytona in just a matter of an hour?
About 100,000 less incident points for me.
Oh, Travis. So can you give me a story behind your Strickland propane car, which honestly I've really enjoyed your paint scheme in this race.
I've loved King of the Hill for years and years. And about a year ago, I talked to, a little over a year ago actually, I talked to Shondor and told him I wanted a King of the Hill car, and he basically took that idea and turned it into this, which turned out way better than I ever imagined a cartoon car could ever turn out. So he did a real heck of a job on this thing. I thought it turned out really well.
That's really cool, Travis. That's Travis Brown, the in-race reporter, currently in 13th, treading water with the transfer position. Will be fun to see if he can transfer. Thank you for joining us, Travis.
No problem. Shout out to Fastlane Motorsports, too, for getting me here.
So Travis, again, we agreed to be our in-race reporter, and every race here throughout the season on LSRTV, we'll try to get different drivers in to talk to them a couple times throughout the race, hear their strategies and whatnot. So this time by is going to be 5 laps to go. If the lights go over the pace car, that'll set us up for a 4-lap restart, and every race, not every race, and we're getting set to go here. This is going to be the final restart again on tonight's race. I'm going to take this moment under the caution flag period to once again thank the sponsors here at Vidane Racing. That includes the Vidane Integrated Point System, iRacing League Management for leagues that matter. That's going to be coming soon. You can check them out on the Vidane website. That's vidane.net/VIPS for more information on that. There's also EX Lander Designs website, Hero Cards, Prints, and all business leads, www.exlander.com. and also RR Chevette Productions, video editing and more from Ian Plash. That's facebook.com/RAR Chevette, and that he obviously edited that video that everyone's been enjoying, the promo video there that kind of highlighted the final race on last season. Lights are off at a race car, and PD, before we get set to go green, Rent a Race Car again is another one of the great things, and they're the title sponsor for the Super Speedway Series. Give us some more info on that.
Oh, Rent a Race Car is actually sponsoring the team championships points. Whoever wins the team points will, all drivers will get to drive real race cars around Stafford Motor Speedway. A really cool thing they got going on here.
So this is it. And again, there's a bubble right now. You got to be looking, 16 through. You got Cody Miller, Bobby Chaney, Arlen Meadows, Tyler Ducharme. Those cars are right on that bubble, but it is not guaranteed where the cutoff is because, again, there's still cars with provisionals that are working their way through the field. You have to be 16 of the highest finishers, excluding the provisional cars. So this is still well up for grabs. There are still cars that are sitting right now top 5, PD, that could end up on the wrong side of the bubble depending on what happens here. It is going to be 4 laps to go. So unlike on the most recent race here at the very end when it was white flag only, there are still cautions unless they get the white flag. So if we see a quick caution, this race is going to end, and whoever is out front is going to walk away with that trip to victory lane. Ian Plash electing to take the outside lane. The 933 of Seth DeMarchant. He's going to be on the inside, the number 2 spot. And here we go for the final time at a corner number 4, getting set for the final restart of the race. And heat race number 2, the hopes and dreams of about 20-plus guys here on making it into the big show rely on what happens in the next 5 minutes. Pace car gets set to dive down to the safety of pit road. Field's going to be in the hands of the 924. Pace car is off track. Green flag is going to fly from the flag stand. We're underway at Daytona. 4 laps to go for Ian Plash.
Ian Plash will clear Seth DeMarchant, leaving JP on the outside. And like we've seen so far in this race, the outside has gotten good runs, but he needs to go quick because with all the hard racing for the transfer spot, who knows when a caution could come out.
A lot of contact. They're bouncing off each other. We're too wide throughout the entire field. It is Plash and DeMarchant up at the top. The outside lane is going to be the 56 of JP Winchell and the 06 machine up there as well. That's Spencer Burns on the top side in his Ford. Over it is that inside the 2-car tandem of Plash and DeMarchant that are pulling away right now. They're clear of everybody else in 3 and 4.
3 of these 4 drivers, with the exception of Plash, to start deep in the field, and now they're up here racing for the win. Great racing going on as DeMarchant and Plash are pulling away from the field.
A lot of these cars back here are trying to get in 2-car tandems, but there's just no room. The track is clogged at about P7 as we are 2-3 wide throughout the pack. Here comes another tandem, the 68 of Damon Gilbert. Oh, standing in Plash gets hurt. Caution flag is going to fly. Huge wreck in 1 and 2. Who made it through all that as Ian Plash gets turned in 1 and 2?
DeMarchant won the race.
It may be the 68. There goes the 933. I think he had it. Seth DeMarchant's going to get this one. And what happens to the transfer spot? Who is left?
We have to wait for it to cycle through.
Yeah, they're going full speed to the start-finish line. Who can make it back? They're still racing under yellow here because the battle for that spot is right in the middle of that huge crash. But Ian Plash gets turned at the front of the field. Not the first time that we had seen that tonight there, PD. The 933, just the slightest of movements, and the 924 gets turned around, and it got huge contact with the 56 machine, and it was close. As DeMarchant, as we work on getting the replay, it was close because that 68 machine of Damon Gilbert was coming up the inside lane as the replay goes up now, and he was trying to get clear of that race leader so that he would obviously be put in a position to be the leader when the yellow flag would fly, which would put him in victory lane. Not going to get it done because right now the 933 sits in the number 1 position, but that was once again a very large wreck, to say the least, down in 1 and 2, and it once again stems from one of those issues where just that bumper hook, PD, on that left rear tire, and rather the left rear quarter panel, hooked that guy around.
Right now, JP Winchell and Spencer E. Burns have to be sitting on pit road just heartbroken. They were gonna transfer in this race easy, and after that wreck, they are now sitting 21st and 22nd on the outside looking in. Seth the Merchant looks as though he has the win wrapped up here, and making picks like this, I feel like I should gamble.
Yeah, Winchittle and Burns, you mentioned, those were top 5 cars. Tyler Ducharme is 20th position now. Nick Del Campo may have just gotten the job done after being 22nd. He is 17th right now. Garland Meadows, he doesn't have an engine. Let's hope that 15 car can hang on to the engine here, Petey, because he's got to make it 2 more circuits around. His engine is smoking. He's 16th spot. He can't afford to give up any more room. And just like that, again, cars that were essentially guaranteed get taken out in that by no fault of their own. And this, again, changes very drastically, and a lot of heartbroken drivers that are sitting down there on pit road that have been forced to take that tow to pit road. It does appear that it is going to be the 933 white flag for Seth Marchand in the number 1 spot.
The 15 smoke is getting darker here. I think it may be starting to blow up. He may be turning the car off to save it. He has to make it around 3 more corners, or else that opens up the door for Tyler Ducharme. Zach Johnson blew his motor.
Trying to get a number on that car and see.
527.
The 527. He was a transfer spot car. He was in a transfer spot. Race officials are letting him know that he cannot be pushed around. And he's going to come up 2 miles short, Petey, of the main event. Because he is coasting, he's not going to make it.
There's 2 other cars blowing up. This opens up the window for Ducharme and Cody Miller.
Did the 15 just lose it too?
The 15 is still holding on. Ducharme actually will get the transfer with the 5.7's problems. But Cody Miller right now is just praying. Can Garland Meadows' motor please blow? He needs it to blow if he has any chance, and he needs it to blow now, because he could probably coast if they get any closer.
Zach Johnson is done after being top 10 at a transfer spot. He will not make it, as his engine just could not last 1 more circuit around the racetrack. And just like that.
Oh, Garland's motor looks like it appears it's getting heavier smoke.
He's got to make it 1 more corner. He's trying to pedal through. There's a couple more cars that are smoking pretty severely. I think one of those cars, somebody may have just lost an engine. Dennis, we got more smoke going on. No, that's Ian Plash. He's pouring heavy smoke, but this time by the start-finish line, 40 laps in a bag, and after starting in 20th position in a 9-trip double 3, it's Seth DeMarchand to victory lane. And again, all eyes will fall on those transfer spots and those missed opportunities as everybody just tries to coast across the start-finish line. Late race drama.
As things will cycle
the
through,
527 out of it.
And the 69 of Tyler Ducharme is your final transfer position.
So there you go. Zach Johnson will drop back to 19th, and this race was definitely exciting. Both of them were. We saw that outside lane. I have to say, it was definitely the outside lane was more prominent in this race, Petey, than we saw in heat race number 1. But again, it seems like most of these incidents were just guys pushing. A couple of guys calling net code on them, but it's that left quarter panel that got a lot of guys tonight. Excluding that, when we were green, the racing really was exciting.
It was a great race here, besides all the cautions, but I heard some drivers saying over chat, a lot of the drivers that, have wrecked in this will probably not make it into the race, and some of them didn't, so I expect to see a significant less amount of cautions in the actual race next week.
Well, the transfer spots have been set, and we'll confirm all of them with you when we come back for our final commercial break. We'll talk to the top 3 finishers, we'll try to, and then we'll get you set for the main event in 1 week's time, 250 miles at Daytona International Speedway to officially kick off the point season with Vidane on LSRTV. So post-race show coming up. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more on the other side of the break. Back live at the Daytona International Speedway, where it is all about the 933, that car going to victory lane. But right now, we have caught up on pit road with the driver, the number 47. That's going to be Joseph Grijalva. Joseph, you come home third place, so you're able to walk over the podium spot, but you started 27th. That was no easy task. How did you work your way through the field?
It was pretty tough. Got into a scuffle with my teammate there pretty early on. Just laid back, kind of got a lot of spots after that major wreck. A lot of guys got in it, managed to miss it, and stayed out to come out in 8th. So that really helped me a lot, and then it was just good from there.
You were pushing there with the 68 car coming down to the checkered flag there in those closing laps. Caution flag flew and evidently wound you up in a third place result. Do you think if that went green, that you and the 68 of Gilbert, you guys would be able to make some noise up front?
You know, I'm not sure. It was pretty close. We were close by, but we have that other team on our outside. I think we'd have caught Ian and them, but that outside lane probably would have blocked us from doing anything. But it was pretty close. It was hard to tell for me.
Well, you're able to lock yourself now into the main event in 1 week's time. What does that mean for you and this team moving forward here in the Vidane season?
It's great, man. My stroke of luck in this race has been awesome. I just want to thank my sponsor, Art of Ruin. Give them a like at facebook.com/Art of Ruin. Sponsor for the first race, Art of Ruin 250. We're very excited to be in it.
Well, congratulations on the top 3 in this race, and we'll keep it on for your 47 up front in 1 week's time at the main event.
All right, sounds good. Great to be there.
So that is the 47 machine. Joseph Grijalva going to come home with a third place result. Now caught up with our officially second place finisher, not currently showing on the ticker there after some post-race issues there with the scoring, but coming home in second place and caught up on pit road with PD is Damon Gilbert.
Hello, Damon. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, you did a great job making it through all the wrecks at the end. Can you take me through your race?
Yeah, I qualified 8th, and my goal was just to stay up front and stay in front of the wrecks, because I know if I got in the back, they're all banging back there. And I just wanted to stay in the front to keep my car clean and have the reset just in case if I do needed it at the end.
All right. Do you think that race would have went green? Do you think you had anything for Ian Plask and Seth DeMerchant?
It was going to be close. I didn't have a teammate in this race. My teammate was in the other split. And it's hard to get people to work with you in the end of these races when they're all trying to get to the win. But it would have been close trying to catch Ian and Seth there.
All right. Well, do you have anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, Dustin Lee for being my partner all the time. And hopefully me and him can go get this championship.
All right, that's Damon Gilbert. Going to be starting 4th this week. Great job, Damon. Can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
And now we're down here in Gatorade Victory Lane. The driver of the 933 car is going to Victory Lane. Seth, caution flag flew in those late laps. Walk us through how you got that win. You started 20th, but it seems like for the majority of that second half of the race, you were up front. How'd you get the job done?
Well, me and Ian, we decided to work together this season, and in qualifying, we got a 0x, and it didn't count it for him, but it counted it for me. So we had to start apart. He started pole, I started 20th. And I was trying to play catch-up basically the whole race, and he dropped back to me about mid-race, and the entire field wrecked in front of us, and somehow we made it through. And then, yeah, we just timed the restart perfectly, and we got by him. And then caution after caution, just waited around. And then I don't know what happened there, but somehow I turned Ian. I guess it was lag or something.
I was going to say, walk us through that final incident. We really didn't see any erratic movements on your part, and it ended up sending your drafting partner there around, and you got past, but the caution flag flew just in time for you to have a nose over everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was told it was netcode, I guess. I'm not really sure. It was weird, because I was pushing him perfectly square, and all of a sudden he just spun out. So, yeah, I got lucky right as the caution came out. I was getting past. Kept the lead.
Well, not only are you going to walk away with that checkered flag in hand, but you lock yourself into the main event 1 week's time to kick off the Vidane point season. What does that mean for you, and what's your plan rolling into that one being outside pole?
Oh, I think me and Ian got a really good shot for winning that race. We were really fast, practice really fast in that race. I think we can win it.
Before we let you go, sponsor, shout out, who makes it happen for you and the team?
Wicked Chassis, it's the team I'm running. Ian for working with me, Paul and Ian, and all you guys that help make this league go. It's one of the best leagues there is. All you guys for broadcasting.
All right, well, congratulations once again, Seth, on your trip to Victory Lane here tonight. We'll be looking for you up front in 1 week's time for the main event.
All right, thank you.
That is your race winner tonight, Seth DeMarchant, the 933 car to Victory Lane. And Petey, you're down there on pit road. You've caught up with Ian Plash.
Yes, I have. Hey, we are here with 6th place finisher Ian Plask. You dominated this race and just at the end had troubles. Can you take me through your race and what happened there at the end?
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, the only thing I could take out of this race, I was just mainly concerned about getting my teammate and Seth DeMarchant to get himself in this event, and he got the win. It's great. Definitely showing that, I'm back in full championship form, dominated the whole race. I can work the lanes, I can work the car. It's something with the servers, something with the setup. We've got a lot of investigating to do before the 250. All the administrators are going to sit down and take a look at that. That's going to be, Jeff Ramsdell, Jonathan Goke, our vice president, Garland Meadows, Paul Strickland Jr., and myself. Got a lot of homework to do on this coming up week to definitely figure out what it is going on, like why everyone's hooking in the middle of the corners. It didn't happen to me. It happened to multiple other drivers. So I honestly don't have an explanation at this point.
All right, Ian. Well, you spend more time with anyone in this league than anyone else because you run the show over here. And what are your first impressions from that standpoint, as not so much as a driver?
Well, honestly, I really liked the fact that we had such a big turnout for the heats for the main event. I mean, we have nearly half of the guys that are showing up are not going to be able to run the main event, but they will be running in the second split, which we will be running simultaneously with the 250 broadcast here on LSRTV next week. It's just, at this point, there's a couple of trouble drivers out there, a couple of issues with the setup, as I mentioned before, but for the most part, everyone from 1st to 20th and all these races have been running super clean, which makes me look really much forward to this 250 next week. I think it's going to be a good 100 laps, and should be a successful race, in my opinion. Just got to get those cobwebs out early, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Ian was very fast tonight, and I expect to see him running up front in the big 250. That's Ian Plask finishing 6th tonight, and I'm going to send it over to Ampisogo on pit road with Paul Strickland Jr.
We're down here on pit road, and Paul, it's going to be unofficially, I think, 16th or 17th position for you when it comes down to it. You were working some connection issues, and you're able to hang on to what would be, I guess, a transfer slot. You're already sitting in on provisionals, but walk us through your race. I know it must have been a tough one and frustrating with those connection issues.
Yeah, it was definitely frustrating. I've been back and forth with iRacing all week long about the connection issues I've been having, and they actually dropped 4 times throughout this race, but luckily with the new rule that we added in, I was able to get my laps back and at least get a lead lap finish here, but I was locked in because of the points from last year. Top 20 are locked in. My main concern was getting the vice president this year locked in, Garland Meadows, in the number 15 car, and it looks like he's going to be racing next week in the 250, but hopefully we can get my issues taken care of, so me and maybe Brian Bliss in the number 49 Cutting Edge Motorsports car, my teammate, my actual official paperwork teammate, can get a good finish here for us.
We asked Ian the same question, and we'll throw it to you as well. Your thoughts on the first race back here with a great turnout. What are your thoughts moving forward into the first points race in 1 week?
Really, it's an awesome turnout, especially being for a non-points race. It's the first race back from a long off season, like I was telling the guys before the race. There's going to be a lot of wrecks. There's going to be a lot of cautions. There's going to be a lot of connection issues. It's really a time to kind of work the bugs out, work all the kinks out and everything like that. And I can definitely assure you that the Art of Ruin 250 next week at Daytona night is going to be a fantastic race right here on LSRTV.
I definitely will. Before we let you go, you talked about your teammates and everybody watching, sponsors and shout-outs. Who makes it happen for you and the team?
I got a lot of sponsors. I got like 14,000 pages of sponsors, but I definitely want to give a shout-out to Rent a Race Car, Gary Spinato, Paul Verricchio, the whole Rent a Race Car team, the Armin Cody, Mid-State Auto. They're doing a lot for us with Rent a Race Car. The 2 team members of the championship team are actually going to get a free rental. You can race a dare stock for free at Stafford Motor Speedway for winning the Vidane Tag Team Championship. So that's definitely a cool deal that Gary Spinato and Paul Ferricchio are putting on at Rent a Race Car. If you're interested in actually running at Stafford Speedway in the dare stock division, you can go to rentaracecarne.com. You can also get their link from Vidane.net. Check out all the rates and details. We're actually going to have 4 rental cars for next season, and one of those is actually going to be sporting Vidane.net on the quarter panels, but don't tell anybody I said that. Got to give a shout out to Kent's Cards. Obviously, they do a lot of advertising for us, and the Gristmill Market in Moodus, Connecticut, and all the awesome sponsors that have signed on for us. You can check out our website, Vidane.net/sponsors. All of everybody that's helping us out is listed there. You can click on their logo, check out their website, give them a quick like on Facebook. Just let them know that Vidane Racing sent you there.
And definitely, well, your inside information is safe with us. There's no microphone, so we'll keep that tucked underneath. And it was unfortunate to see your connection issues, but I have to say also there was a lot of positives, so we look forward to next week as well.
Yeah, a lot of positives. A lot of guys showed up, and I'm thrilled for the car count tonight. I am going to give Ride Racing a call. I know their phone support is down on the weekends, I believe it is. They got a few emails from me throughout the evening today, but I'm going to give them a shout on the phone Monday morning, figure out what exactly my issue is here. But we'll get that sorted out, and I think you're going to see Cutting Edge Motorsports, me, the 94 Run a Race car, Cutting Edge Motorsports car, and Brian Bliss in the number 49. I think we're going to be a force to reckon with, because I know Ian Plash won the championship last year, and I just want to make note that I, in the 94 car, have more racing talent in my left beard than Ian Plash has under his entire fedora. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed that out.
Now, Ian, what are your comments on that?
Yeah, let's hear a counter. Ian's still in here.
It's not a fedora. I don't know. If you look at all the performances from my last season and this season combined, I'm pretty sure I probably could have run probably one full season, and Paul probably accumulated as many points as he would have taken like 4 seasons to accumulate in my one season. So, you know.
Well, they call it a tag team for the teams, and I mean, I don't think these guys are going to be teaming up. So it sounds like you got a little bit of battle here going on, guys, moving forward.
What do they say in the iRacing world? Shots fired?
Shots fired.
Kill him.
Well, the 94 and the 924. Coincidence there, maybe. We'll look forward to both you guys battling it out here on what should be a great season, all season long on LSR. All right, so Petey, it's 2 races done in the books. However, we still have our first points race going to be coming up. That's going to be in 1 week's time. The main event here for 250 miles, 100 laps at Daytona. The field has been set after what can only be described as a wild night. Your closing thoughts here as we head out.
I just thought we had some great racing tonight. You know, there might have been cautions, but when they weren't under caution, it was just insane racing. And you know, I think we're in for a great event. I think a lot of the people that caused cautions did not advance, and I expect to see the best 100 laps of racing that we have ever witnessed next week.
Well, the excitement was there. There was the big carnage that you come to expect at Daytona. We got a day race. We got a race under the lights, and by the way, that wasn't even for points yet. The season with Vidane gets kicked off in 1 week's time. Same place, same time. That's going to be live on LSRTV. That does it here for tonight's boost. So on behalf of executive producer Laura Lawson, pushing the buttons and getting us on air, Petey Zeller for joining me up at the broadcast booth, our couple of in-race reporters, thanks to Ian Plash, Paul Strickland for joining us up here as well. They made the show go on tonight. My name is Evan Pasoko. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you 1 week's time, points racing with Vidane.